hit all of the appropriate buttons to make this a live episode. Hey guys, welcome to the Nerd Table. This is our special 50th episode, and we're coming to you live. We're on Twitch, we're on YouTube, and we are on Facebook in our Nerd Table fan appreciation group. Hi, I'm Chris, and over here is Dan.
Oh, It's weird with Discord.
And that's Eric.
Hey.
Well, this is what they're seeing. They're seeing what I'm seeing. And
do they put you in the top right no matter who you are?
I don't know. They might do it alphabetically. I have no idea.
Because you're in the top left for me, and Eric's below me.
Maybe they put yourself in the top left, and then.
Because I'm in the I think they put you in the top right.
Well, this is how people are going to actually see this. So, they're seeing what I'm currently streaming. So,
cool.
I mean, this is the order, I guess. I don't know. I can't choose it. I can't like mess around and move them around or anything. I don't have that much power, unfortunately.
I wonder if you could, but I wouldn't try it because I just
not now.
5 minutes earlier trying to get all three of us on my screen at the same time.
No, not now. We're not doing that now. No, we're live, and if you guys are watching us, great. We have the comment section open so we can interact with all of you. Say hi so we can say hi back. You can ask us questions. You can control content on this episode. If you are listening to the audio version of this podcast, you are missing out on an experience. But if this sounds like something you'd want to participate in, by all means, let us know. So while we're getting everybody situated here, let me get through our wonderful plugs first and foremost. Bear with me for a moment, guys, because I'm going to bring up a window here, and I don't want to kill the stream. Go to ckccradio.com to check out all the great podcasts. Go to patreon.com/clubkayfabe for extra bonus content, including a review of Lord of the Rings that the three of us are going to be doing. We'll be recording that this weekend. Check out our partner podcasts, The Blake and Sal Show, The United We Fan Podcast, and Watch Me Cook with Tom. And our wonderful sponsor, Adrian Cotton, emersoncotton.intellitravel.com, helping keep this show free for you guys. Next time you want to plan a vacation, go to emersoncotton.intellitravel.com. He can get you all kinds of great discounts, and if you mention CKCC Radio, you might win a free 3-day, 2-night getaway. Who wants to turn that down? So there you have it. So what's going on with you guys? What's new and exciting in your respective universes? Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I started a new job, so that's pretty cool. But it's just pretty much the same thing I was doing before, just for a different company.
That's cool.
Outside of that, I just got, I don't know if it's back here or now. Hold on, give me a sec.
Interactive.
I just started reading the Venom comic.
Ooh, that's cool.
From a couple of years ago, and I'm now looking for volume 2 of the novel style, not like the actual book. You know what I mean? So here's hoping I can find it.
Well, there's always the internet for all of your wonderful endeavors. So I just learned something today that I had no idea was a thing. I was going online and I was watching some old Power Rangers episodes. Original MMPR. First season stuff. I watched the entire 5-part series of when Tommy becomes the Green Ranger for the first time. And so I go to the Power Rangers wiki thing, and I discover that there is a canon comic book series called Soul of the Dragon that basically concludes all of the storylines from characters that did not get concluded in the original series. Specifically, the villain Scorpina. And it involves Tommy Oliver's son, and I was like, that's really cool. So now I need to find this. It's a graphic novel, and I think I need it. I think I need that for my collection.
There's some great
yes, exactly.
Power Rangers comic stuff. There's some great Power Rangers comic stuff. Including Tommy stays evil and becomes the biggest evil. And it becomes Battle for the Grid. Where
is that a Tron crossover? Because that'd be awesome.
Every Power Ranger has to come together and defeat Tommy.
Ooh. Didn't they do a whole
crazy.
thing?
He becomes Lord Drakon. And he has like the power of all the early power coins. crazy.
Didn't they do an angle on one of the TV shows where every single Red Ranger came back? There were like 10 Red
Yeah.
Rangers.
Yes, it's called Forever Red.
Hello, Lego, my ego.
It was called Forever Red. It's not as deep into Power Rangers as one would hope it would have been. It's Staring Wild Force, which is like the 5th or 6th one. But it's still like 8 or 9 Red Rangers. They find Serpentera, the Lord Zed's Zord, is like powering back up. It's powering back up on the moon. So every Red Ranger to that date came together and took it down.
That's awesome. Wasn't Tommy the Red Ranger twice?
Yeah, in Zeo and Turbo.
So does he like multiply himself for that, or?
And then he was a Black Ranger in a later show.
I did know that. Yeah, because Tommy has been a Ranger 5 different times, so you could do an entire team of Rangers with Tommy if you're okay with having 2 Red Rangers. I remember somebody specifically talking about that.
There would be a green, a white, 2 reds, and a black.
That sounds
But they were
like,
different shows, different outfits, so at least they look distinct.
Well, yeah.
What kind of spun it off? Like, what did they ever explain why there were multiple Rangers?
There's just different worlds and different areas. There's just the power grid, the morphing grid. There's been different ways that people have found a way to tap into that power source over the years to make a team of Rangers.
Because wasn't the original series was based on the power coins, and then Zia was based on a crystal, and they got Ranger abilities from all that, so that's kind of where the differences came in. If I'm not mistaken.
And then at the end of In Space, Zordon dies.
I actually did know that, yes. Zordon dies and purifies all the evil in their dimension. So
yes.
Like Rita and Zed become humans.
Regular humans.
Regular ass humans.
Red Ranger is clearly the best Ranger.
Here we go.
The Green Ranger, man. The Green
Until
Ranger
Tommy, dude, right?
Yeah. Business for 5 fucking episodes straight.
So this is
one of them.
This is Kyle SNJ, who claims the Red Ranger is clearly the best Ranger, and I raise you green/white, sir.
But then Jason comes back in Zeo and takes over the Gold Ranger mantle from the guy that is in 3 parts.
That was about where I stopped watching Power Rangers, was with Zeo, and I do remember that Jason was the Gold Ranger.
I was done before Zeo, but then again, as an adult, I've gone back and watched every single Ranger show except for if there's one airing right now.
I'm sure there is.
I've seen the one until airing last year. I've seen through there. Beast Morphers.
Until the White Ranger.
Wait.
Right? Like once the White Ranger came in, after that I didn't see anymore.
Yeah, by the time Zeo happened, I was out. So
yeah, Zeo is when
already out.
Was when I left too. I don't know anything about Turbo except there's cars. Lightning McQueen is a Power Ranger.
Ka-chow.
I tried coming back and watching a few, but they were like, I don't know, cops in space, it felt like, and I was just like, I'm out. I'm tapping out.
SPD is the best series.
Bad boys.
SPD and RPM are the 2 best series.
So
if you're gonna watch any Power Rangers, watch those 2.
Kyle claims the greatest Power Rangers villain ever is Ivan Ooze. Debate.
I disagree. I still think it's the Green Ranger. For 5 fucking episodes. No.
He was a really good villain.
He ate shit for 4.5 episodes.
Yep. And then they're like, we can break the spell. And then Tommy's like, hey, I got a cool idea. Let's team up. That was my text alert for the longest time, by the way, was the...
Where was the meme where it's just like, is this guy playing a flute through a helmet that sounds like a trumpet?
Yes! Playing it through his helmet, and it's also a dagger. It's also a weapon. Oh, man. I love the Power Rangers.
Ranger can't be the best Power Ranger and villain. He can, because he is. If I had, okay.
Sounds like it's up for debate now.
I don't know who the best villain is. I actually think Ivan Ooze is kind of cool.
Ivan Ooze is the Reverend in Hot Fuzz, by the way.
Yes.
And that was one of my favorite things I ever read, where I'm like, I recognize that name, but I don't know where from. And
He's
I
a
start
pretty
scrolling.
classic actor, yeah.
Well, yeah, he's in a bunch of stuff, but like I specifically knew him from something, right? And I'm going down the IMDb list, and then I see Ivan Ooze, and I started laughing my ass off.
Smells like teenagers.
Oh, here comes that cute little Pink Ranger. You think she's cute too, huh? Like Goldar was such an imposing villain, and then later when he teamed up with Rita's brother, it just became a Beavis and Butthead routine.
Oh, Rito Repulso.
Yeah, that's the brother, but he has a different last name entirely because that's how it works out there in space. Weird alien shit.
Or is
I
that
guess.
the weird pig guy was supposed to be like Goldar's cousin that's there for summer vacation?
Oh yeah, he's like a summer intern or something stupid.
Yeah, but it's like the scene got cut, so there's just this weird pig in the
Yeah,
movie.
they never explain it. I always really liked Lord Zed just because he had a really cool design to him.
Yeah, he actually looked freaking legit scary. And then there came to the point where the staff got broken and it just got duct taped together. And if you pay attention to his staff in half the episodes, you realize, oh my god,
Why didn't they just make a new one?
that was the issue. That was the real issue back then. Except for like these last 5 to 10 series, there were like 20-year-old tapes of Super Sentai that they were doing now.
So, what do we think of the new movie? I'm assuming you mean the remake
Like the
from
2017 or whatever
yeah.
it was.
I really liked it. I liked the creative take on it. I'm actually kind of mad that it didn't do well enough to warrant a sequel because I think they could have had a whole thing coming out of that.
Because they set up the sequel because they were like, where's Tommy Oliver?
Right?
And then there's like an explosion in the bathroom.
I haven't seen it. I'm sad about it. I might watch it at some point, but
I think it's
am
good.
looking forward to this new movie.
Oh,
Hell
that
yeah,
trailer
dude.
was amazing.
That
Yes.
trailer. Whew.
And then at the end, where the phone rings and it's freaking Ray running the store.
Who are you gonna call?
Do you think
Someone else.
Bats grow on trees. Yes. They have to. I feel like, unless it's a metal staff.
I don't know. That's some weird alien stuff. That could have been anything. It's an element we haven't even discovered on Earth yet.
Zedanium.
Yeah. They named an element after me. Dude, so just to tell you a little bit about it, Eric, they do a really good job with kind of setting up what an origin story would be if it wasn't as goofy as the TV series had it be. Like, what if the Power Rangers was a little more gritty? How would this work? And a lot of it kind of makes sense. And like, yeah, I know that they did a lot of like forced inclusion because they made sure the Black Ranger was an Asian kid, and then the Yellow Ranger is the dark-skinned girl. So they were a little conscious about that. I know that wasn't intentional on the original series, but they've always kind of regretted that.
It was funny. I mean, it was racist, but it was funny.
It was funny. Well, what's really funny about it is the original Yellow Ranger in the Sentai series isn't even a girl.
It's a guy. That's why he's not wearing a dress. He doesn't have a skirt on. The outfit.
And I never...
Only the Pink Ranger has the skirt.
Yeah, I never actually connected that before until I was older, read that stat, and then I was like, huh, the Yellow Ranger has no tits.
She doesn't have a skirt on either.
There's no chest on the Yellow Ranger, so...
That's why she's Asian.
Because I was older and single at the time, so I paid attention to these sort of things.
Yeah, so like in the movie, Rita was the original Green Ranger, and Zordon was the Red Ranger, and she turned evil on the rest of the Rangers. It's like the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, it's actually really well done.
And she kills all the other Rangers besides Zordon. And then Zordon hides himself. And then Rita's coming back, and he has to come up with a new team
Like
to
a
hopefully
prequel.
bring him out of his alternate universe that he's in or whatever.
Also, Zordon is Walter White.
Yes.
Nice.
Because Bryan Cranston was actually
So-
a major part of the early shows. He was a voiceover and stand-in guy to the point where Billy, the Blue Ranger, his last name is Cranston after him.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Little trivia factors here.
It's
They
Billy
all
Cranston
have
because of Bryan Cranston.
they all have last names too, but I don't think they've ever mentioned them. Like I'm pretty sure that Zach's last name is Taylor, and when I hear Zach Taylor, I just think of Home Improvement because that's the oldest son.
The last name Taylor.
Zachary Ty Taylor.
Zachary Ty Taylor, yeah.
Because they were all three names.
Yeah, because Brad was played by Zachary Ty whatever. Yeah. Brian? Zachary Ty
Bryan, yes.
So I hear Zach Taylor, and I'm like, that's Home Improvement. Because I immediately think of that actor.
His real name, but then his fake last name.
Well, we made 15 minutes in, so...
Well, he went 15 minutes without Monster for y'all.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, sir. Cheers. All right, let me throw this one out there right now, because, of course, and I am encouraging you guys to help us control content. You can ask us questions, or you can make comments, you can do whatever, and we'll answer them. But real quick, since you did bring up Ghostbusters, what is everyone's opinion on Ghostbusters 2?
The original Ghostbusters 2, or like...
Yeah, actual Ghostbusters 2. Because the remake was just Ghostbusters.
True. I enjoyed it. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I liked it.
Do you think it gets unfair hate?
Yes.
I think so too. I don't think it's great, but I also don't think it's bad. I mean, it's got its moments, but it's also a little too... It doesn't take any fun risks like the first one did, but it also didn't need to. It just kind of did its own thing. And I can appreciate that. I mean, when I was a kid, I legitimately thought that ooze was terrifying when it comes out of the bathtub.
The bathtub scene wasn't terrifying for me. I think the
Janusz as in the baby
was awesome.
I mean, it's a good plot.
Yeah, when they're just staring at the painting, it's fucking great. I don't know. They're like, how'd they do that at the time? If you really think about it, CGI wasn't that great.
No, but there really wasn't that much CGI in the late 80s anyway. I mean, some of the earliest CGI I can think of was in 1982 in Tron. I mean, was there a lot of CGI even before that? I don't really think there was. That's the earliest example I can think of where CGI was a major part of the movie, the entire movie. It was a program used to design houses, and they made an entire movie with it. I love that movie, by the way. I love Tron. And I like the sequel. Apparently that's a very unpopular opinion, but I really like
Tron Legacy is quite a ride.
Tron Legacy's awesome.
Yeah, it's really good.
Like the stupidest non-needed part is they go to the club and meet Michael Sheen, and I'm like, that part fucking rules.
Yeah, and he's just Michael Sheen playing himself at that point.
Yeah,
every time he plays a character, he's always super eccentric, and it's awesome.
Apparently, there's still talks of a new one.
Yes,
is there really?
They've been talking about it for a while, and I'm still waiting for it. By the way.
Oh, what are they going to do now?
Well, they wiped out.
Well, I mean, yeah, we're dealing with the whatever's in the real world now, right? Like the people that could do the programs that could do whatever the fuck they want. That chick is one, and she's in the real world now.
Right. So she's a real world person now.
Olivia Wilde in the wild, making and breaking shit as she sees.
That'd be
I really want.
This means we're all in the Matrix. She just got one layer out. It's Inception meets the Matrix. She's
I know.
One layer deep now.
Yeah.
Well, I'm cool with everything on D+. Speaking of D+, I am now mostly through Season 2 of Star Wars Rebels.
Oh, really?
Yeah, mostly. I don't remember exactly where I am. The last episode I watched, Dan, I know you've seen the whole series, so you might still be a little rusty, but they were going after a transport ship, and the courier that they were looking for turned out to be the Gonk droid. And then Sabine met her old bounty hunter friend.
Uh,
They were now she's part of like the Dark Sun or whatever that group is called. The Black
Oh, yeah,
Sun. The Black Sun. That's it.
the terrorist ones.
Yeah, yeah. So we got a little more backstory out of that. So yeah, I've seen the first season of Rebels. Dan encouraged me to get through it because I tried watching it a little while ago, sometime last year. It was when I was on my kick to catch up on a lot of shows. That's when I watched Avatar: The Last Airbender for the first time. We talked about that on past episodes. And I did Clone Wars. And I'm like, well, I want to do Rebels and I want to do Korra, but I didn't want to do them back to that stuff. But I tried, and I only got 5 episodes into Rebels and like 3 into Korra, and I dropped both of them because it was just too much at once. Now it's like a year later, I restarted Rebels, and I'm flying through it. And then when that's done, I'm going to watch Legend of Korra and get completely caught up on everything. Because now that enough time has passed, I'm like back into getting to see that stuff. But I really, really like this show. And I'm sorry I sat on it for so long because holy crap, is this a good show. Once you get past that first season, it's pretty much what Dan had told me. Get past the first season where you introduce...
those last couple episodes.
Yeah, and then as soon as I saw the season 1 finale and how it ended, I'm like, I have to watch the next season, like, now. But it was also like 11:30 at night, and I really, really needed to go to bed, though I didn't want to. So.
I feel like one of the best things that happened to Star Wars was Dave Filoni.
Yeah, Dave Filoni is the savior of Star Wars. The savior of Star Wars. Every single Star Wars series now should have a character with a giant cowboy hat. As a tribute to Dave Filoni.
By the way, I want Cad Bane on one of these live action shows so bad. Give me some Cad Bane live action.
Yeah, we need Cad Bane live. I mean, when I saw him interacting with Fennec on Bad Batch, I was geeking out over that. By the way, Bad Batch only has 2 episodes left at this point. Yeah, we are almost done with Bad Batch. And I'm actually a little sad about that because that wasn't a show I was interested in watching, and now I'm totally hooked. And I'm like, this is going to end, but...
I was like, no, man, it's going to bridge Clone Wars to Rebels, man.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's going to do, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's already bridging it. Hera Syndulla's been on. We got to see her.
It's already Ezra bridging it. LOL.
Oh my god, he did it. He went there. Yeah, he went there all right. So, yeah, I can't forget Jon Favreau. He's also a savior of Star Wars too.
Yes, many things.
Hey, he's pretty much solely responsible for the success of the MCU being what it is. He helped skyrocket those movies off the ground. It was a lot of credit to that.
Give the nerd movies to the nerds. We know what we're doing.
Joss Whedon and the Russo brothers, and yeah, and look at what happened. But stop giving. If you're gonna do Star Wars, give somebody the whole trilogy, and don't just split it up between 3 different directors, because one of them's gonna quit anyway. And then you're gonna get very disconnected movies that
and then one has to spend half their movie fixing the mistakes they felt the person before them made in the previous movie.
I know.
And then it happens again.
No, I hate Finn and Rose. We have to break them up by the midpoint of the next movie. We have to make it sure that everyone knows that they are not together.
My big thing was, even if you like the sequel movies, you can't argue that they're not completely disjointed, because they were. That was the whole problem with the 3 different directors. That's why, for all the flaws that the prequel movies have, and they have many, but they knew where they were going as a story. Like, yes, they had to fill in a lot of blanks with characters that we couldn't stand, but they knew exactly where they were going. They knew where they were heading.
Yeah, but then you just wait for Dave Filoni to make that character cool.
The downfall, not downfall, that's a bad word, but like, I think what made the prequels bad was just the overuse of CGI, because like, hey, we got this tech now, let's just fucking use it. You overdid it. They kind of overdid it. Just like, JJ will overdo fucking lens flares and shit like that.
Oh my
There's just
God.
a point where like, okay, bring it back a little bit.
You know, you can watch JJ slowly phase out. That if you watch the first Star Trek movie, you're just like blind the whole movie. But
Yeah.
like
What
you
is
watch
this?
something now, it's just like, okay, there's a couple, and that's okay.
All right, are we doing this? We're doing this.
Well, we
Best
got a
Jon
comment.
Favreau movie, Elf, hands down. Okay.
Okay, well, I've never sat down and watched Elf from beginning to end. I probably have seen all of it.
All right, so let's look at Jon Favreau's
Some
producer.
of movies that he directed, or
Let's go with director credits. Okay. We have. I'm just. The IMDb app goes from most recent down. Obviously, Mandalorian, Gnomes and Goblins.
Gnomes and Goblins.
Yes, the 2019 Lion King, which I haven't seen, but I haven't heard good things about. So. He did direct Young Sheldon. I didn't know that. I didn't know he did
Like an episode or two.
Oh, it just says 2017, so probably an episode. Yeah. He did the 2016 Jungle Book. Let's see. Looking for Cowboys and Aliens.
I enjoyed that movie.
The two Iron Men movies. Oh, he did Zathura or Zathura, the Jumanji in space movie. I've never seen it, but I know what it is. And yeah, then we come to Elf, and then after that, there's not really anything else too noteworthy in his director credits. So,
is there the one where he does the food truck?
Which one?
I don't know. Is it called Chef or something?
Yeah,
it's like
something
entirely. It's entirely his movie. Like he wrote
the
it.
Chef Show.
He produced it. He wrote it, produced it, starred in it. It was like after Iron Man.
Him and Roy Choi. And Aaron Franklin and a bunch of other people. Yeah, it's called The Chef Show. It's on Netflix. Okay. Well, there you have it. I think there is an argument to be made for Elf or Iron Man as his best movie because, as you just saw, there wasn't a whole lot of stiff competition there for a best movie. I mean,
Elf is a modern Christmas classic, right?
Yeah.
Like, when's the last one? They're in the 80s, right?
I mean, that's a good point. Have there been any other Christmas movies?
Like, I know there's some people that swear on the. There's some people that swear on the Jim Carrey Grinch. Yeah. I still watch the cartoon. We still watch the cartoon, old cartoon. Not even the new cartoon with Benedict Cumberbatch. Old cartoon.
Yeah, you want an unpopular opinion here, folks? The live-action Grinch movie sucks. Mark, I'm sorry if you're watching this. That movie sucks.
It has such a great cast too. Like they just
young Taylor Momsen.
They took a 20-minute movie and made it 90 minutes. That's what happens.
Yeah, 20 minutes of it are good. Y'all can
20 minutes over credits.
Y'all can go flaming on that. Yeah. Santa Claus as a modern Christmas classic. Yes, I agree. But Santa Claus is 90s. Elf is 2003, 2004. So I'm trying to think.
So yeah, more maybe
recent
the
than
Santa
Elf?
Claus. Yeah.
Is there anything more recent than Elf that would be considered a Christmas classic? I can't.
Santa?
Yeah, is that more recent than Elf though?
I mean, do people swear about?
To the rescue. I don't think people swear on Bad Santa the way they swear on Elf though. That's the thing. Like,
what is that creepy painted movie with Tom Hanks as half the cast?
Oh, Polar Express.
Polar Express. I only know it as Snow Train because my grandmother has called it that since it was a book in the 70s.
Polar Express was 04. Bad Santa was 03. Elf was 03. Yeah, so.
But Polar Express, good story.
What's left?
But that was like Dead-Eyed Children, you know?
Kyle asks, Nightmare Before Christmas, Christmas movie or Halloween movie? Both.
And neither.
And neither.
It is a Thanksgiving movie.
It's Planes, Trains, and Automobiles? That's a Thanksgiving movie.
I'm trying to get home for Thanksgiving.
See, I've actually seen people really get into fights about Nightmare Before Christmas. It's Halloween. No, it's Christmas. And I'm like, It is definitely not one or the other. It is a Halloween-themed movie that takes place at Christmas time. Therefore, it is both. Because if Die Hard can be both a Christmas movie and a summer blockbuster, and it is, Nightmare Before Christmas can be two things as well. Case closed. There's no more argument. Jury's out. We're done. We're done. We're done. It's both. We're done. We're done.
Brian, thanks for popping in. I see that you're still working.
I'm sorry, Brian. I'm sorry you weren't able to watch this. Yeah. So, who's got questions for us? Somebody, before we went on the air, said we had to put on our thinking caps. Gonna try to stump us. Let's get some questions going here. You want to try to stump us here?
To stump us.
I'm gonna get some life advice from Eric.
Yeah, anybody want live life advice?
Okay.
Yes, if anybody would like some life advice from Eric, this is the time
Dear
to pop in. Dear Eric, I wrote you, but you still ain't calling.
Oh shit.
What's this? Let's see. What has been our favorite episode of Nerd Table?
Ooh, good question. I'd have to actually look up what we've done. I don't know if I have like a favorite episode of Nerd Table yet, because this actually might be my favorite episode that we're doing right now, because I really kind of like this live interactive format. So you might be witnessing my favorite episode right now.
Right.
I mean, I really liked... Well, yeah. I mean, I really liked the episode where we interviewed my friend Andy, because he had so much fun with that, and I really liked our Guildmaster interview. Although I think Andy's interview came out better, because Guildmaster was our first attempt at an interview. So, and usually the first one just is not the best one. Because you got to figure out how to work out all the kinks and everything. Yeah. Ooh, I know what my least favorite episode of the Nerd Table is. The one where my computer messed up and we lost half the episode.
Oh, no. Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah.
I liked the Christmas countdown episode because Eric didn't show up until the last half hour.
That was awesome. Yeah, he just popped in. He's just like, oh, it's a Merry Christmas, guys. I'm here.
So we did it with Matt and Shannon.
That was so great. And then Eric just shows up anyway. See, it would have been that would have been a great episode to have done this webcam format with. All of a sudden, Eric just pops up on the screen. Hey, guys. Just pops open his eggnog monster or whatever bullshit Christmas thing, candy cane monster. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like bullshit Christmas flavors for things now. Hot cocoa monster.
He pours it into the eggnog, into the carton of eggnog.
Cheers.
You know, I actually kind of enjoyed the Taylor Swift episode.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the one where my internet died for a week.
See, Dan did not like that episode. No, I liked that one too because Eric was just like so fascinated by this world that he knew nothing about. Plus, my wife likes doing stuff like this.
Hogwarts for the first time, and
right?
I was just like, "What?"
Yeah, okay. I was semi dreading that episode. Then I was enjoying it, and then my internet died.
It's so. Brian Leon has a trivia question.
Oh, trivia question.
Okay. What do you think is the loudest animal in the world? The loudest animal in the world. My cat at 3 a.m. is the loudest goddamn thing on the planet.
To answer your mom last night.
Okay, so are we talking about like where you can hear it the furthest away, or like loud as in if it
highest decibel could blow your eardrums? Jeff says my ex-wife. Yeah, I knew somebody was going to go for that.
I wonder if it is like a water mammal or something that I
wouldn't feel like it would be a whale, right?
So I know
burst in the water too much that you wouldn't actually, but it's actually the loudest.
I know you can hear a lion's roar from 5 miles away, but that doesn't necessarily. That just means it could have really good echo power. It could just travel really well. It doesn't necessarily
vibrational.
Make it the loudest. Yeah. Let's see. The answer is actually the sperm whale. Its auditory clicks can be up to 230 decibels. That's loud enough to literally shake your organs apart and kill you. Cool. One more reason for me to avoid the ocean.
And it makes that noise when it comes.
What'd you say, Eric?
We weren't meant to go into the ocean. I feel
Oh.
like once we evolved out of like being in the water, we were just like, fuck the water. We left for a reason. We don't know what it is, but we shouldn't go back.
Don't shine lights down in the Mariana Trench because you're not going to like what you see. You've seen
Listen, all
the
I'm
bottom-dwelling things that down there.
All I'm saying is we've been doing everything in our power to just not be in the ocean as a species, right? Like if you follow like evolution and stuff, we moved away from the ocean and now we're like building rockets and sending dicks to space. Like we're trying to leave the planet is what I'm saying.
Oh.
And yes, I was talking about Jeff Bezos.
To be fair, every rocket is dick shaped. Okay.
Well, yeah. That's fine.
To be more fair, his rocket was more dick-shaped.
But I'm just like, wow, today I learned everyone doesn't know what a rocket looks like. They all look like dicks on purpose because it has to penetrate. It has to penetrate the atmosphere. Yeah.
I fucked a planet, Morty.
Guess what? Dick shape is the perfect shape for penetrating anything.
If there are space whales, then I'm staying on this planet. Screw that. No.
Wasn't there space whales in Doctor Who?
Yes,
there was.
But
the entire country of England is on the back of one, going through space looking for a new home.
But it's fine. Sound doesn't travel through space because if it did, we'd all be deaf from the sun. The sun would literally just make everybody deaf.
The sun's going. Oh
yeah, the screaming sun on Rick and Morty. You can't hear pictures. What do you mean your auto mod keeps restricting me? Oh, that sucks, man.
Just keep saying words that get
just
automatic.
Auto mod. All right, Eric, have you ever seen Letterkenny?
Just the few clips that we've run into so far.
I've been watching clips all day, actually.
All right,
have you?
From Kyle, who's your favorite Letterkenny character? I actually got to think about this now.
I don't know if I have one yet.
See, Dan, I can tell you what my wife's favorite character is.
Oh, yeah?
Gail. She is a huge fan of Gail. Every time Gail's on screen, she's like, yeah, that's my favorite. She doesn't really watch the show that much, but she has already picked a favorite character. So how's Gaylord doing? Oh, you know, the usual, upbeat and horny. That's literally her whole character. Okay. Whew, this is actually tough. Favorite Letterkenny character?
Yeah, well, I don't know what favorite, but like that. Who do you see yourself as? I'm a mix of.
You're Squirrely Dan.
Yeah, Dan and Daryl. I'm like a mix of them.
You should be. I'm gonna start calling you Squirrely Daryl, because that's. I'm gonna start calling you that.
Okay, Chris. Okay.
Okay, Dan. Okay. So I don't know who my favorite character is, but I can tell you the character that I quote the most, and that is Shorzy. And I am always quoting Shorzy characters lines all the time. My old coworker Matt, he doesn't work with me anymore. Matt, if you're watching this, you know exactly what I'm about to say too. And we would constantly be going back and forth if we'd be working at the same table together. Just be like, because his last name is Jones, so we call him Jonesy. So it just makes it even easier to quote Letterkenny stuff at him. So he would just come up to me and be like, "Hey, fuck you, Chris." And be like, "Hey, fuck you, Jonesy. Your mom's a whore." Just the random stupid stuff that he says. But our favorite quote by far was always when they're having the argument over who the best hockey player is, because they're talking about, what was it, Gordie Howe?
Yeah, because they're giving Joint Boy and the other guy their jersey numbers.
Yeah, and he's like, Gretz is the best player ever, you piece of shit. We're like, no, we're talking about the best overall player. And he's like, and when he said something like, well, what about Mr. Hockey? He goes, suck my Mr. Cocky.
Yeah.
And I don't know why that line just friggin' made me laugh all the time. But I would quote that. I would quote that all the time. And yeah, that'd be the end of everything.
What
From
are your thoughts
yeah.
on ScarJo suing Disney Plus over Black Widow streaming?
Good question, Jeff. So,
You
have you guys all followed this story?
I know enough of it to be able to
Okay.
understand.
Eric, have you followed it?
somewhat,
Yeah.
somewhat.
So the basic gist of it is, by releasing Black Widow on streaming, it went against the contract she originally signed, which was to get part of the revenue from the ticket sales and everything, and thus it's a breach of contract. So she's suing Disney over it. It's basic gist, Dan,
Yeah.
more or less. Yeah.
I feel like I understand because these actors, especially like the top tier actors, right? They get paid based off a percentage of ticket sales plus what's it called? Royalties for like these different companies and stuff like that.
That's why we talked about this before. That's why popcorn and drink sales are always so expensive at the movie theater, because that's how the theater's making all of its money. Because the theater's
Right.
not, if it's seeing anything from ticket sales, it's not a large percentage at all.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, it probably costs if they don't get anybody there, it costs more in electricity just to run a fucking projector.
Right.
And they still have to pay for the film and all that stuff, and the right to even show it because apparently they have a limited run. They can only show it so many times or whatever, depending on like what kind of contract they get or whatever. Like they get to keep the film, but they can't show it to the public and charge money for it after a certain point or something like that. Something stupid. But I think it is bad on both accounts. I think because of this whole like pandemic situation, they should have renegotiated the contract to include streaming services for Scarlet. But I don't think that there was anything in the contract saying that they can't do whatever they want with it. It's their IP. You know what I mean? Like, yes, it's cannibalizing the actual theater sales, so it's not at the end of the day, they're not going to end up paying ScarJo that much money. But that is life.
Well,
I mean,
and here's the other.
sometimes
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I know someone's going to bring up the argument that, like, she has so much money, she doesn't need to sue for something like this. But my point of view on that is that's actually, to me, that's irrelevant. If you breach a contract and you're not doing anything about that to appease the other party, then you should be sued for it, regardless of what the deals of the contract is, because you don't want to set that precedent that you can just break a contract, because if she doesn't speak out, then they could do this to how many other people? And there might be other actors, maybe not in her position, but there are going to be other actors who are going to need to rely on that money to survive. So you can't set that precedent. You can't
I
let
feel
them
like
do that.
yeah, this is a step in the right direction to kind of like modify what I feel like the contracts have just been old for a really long time now. Like it's always been a percentage based off of ticket sales. So like pay me 10 million for this, then 3 or 4% or whatever like the actual gross. You know what I mean? But like with this, they're cannibalizing their own sales, and I think moving forward, more companies are going to offer or add on. It'll probably be an add on. Hey, if we end up doing like a streaming thing, then you get the royalties. But I feel like she still gets royalties for every time it gets shown or something like that, or somebody pays for it. I just don't know how, like how much.
All right.
I
Well,
know it's not.
here's
as
the
much
thing,
as
right? If you are paying for the premium service, which was the only way to watch Black Widow, then why don't they just divvy up some of that to her? Because isn't that almost the equivalent of buying the ticket?
Yes, I feel like that's exactly probably why she's suing,
Yeah.
because it's not the same. And on that note, yeah, I agree with Scarlet. With Scarlet.
Now
But at
again,
the same time,
I'll play devil's advocate here one more time, and I will say that if they do come to a good compromise where she is getting a piece of the stream or whatever, and she still wants to sue, then there's going to become a point where this starts tipping against her. And I hope that she's just smart enough to not take it that far. She gets a nice, reasonable deal out of this. She made her point. She got something out of it. Now she needs to let it go, kind of thing.
This is like one of those moments where both parties are ridiculously rich, and we don't know who to pick, because it's not like Disney's taking advantage of like Frodo, right? It's literally A-list celebrity who has enough money, and Disney, who definitely has enough money, fighting over more money.
Basically, yeah.
Well, so similarly, in the mid-aughts, there was a big thing about record deals. And all these bands and artists from the 90s and 80s and 70s making $0 off of legal downloads because it's not in their record deal. So they got new record deals and re-recorded all their hits. That's why you will see, if you go through and look through for a classic 80s song, you will see 2003 edit or re-record.
Yes.
Because in 2003, they got together, recorded the song again so they could make money off of legal downloads.
There's a lot of those too, yeah. Remasters and everything. I've seen that a lot of, because when I was building my big Spotify playlist, I saw that a lot come up for bands like Van Halen, Queen, Ozzy, Black Sabbath, Iron Maiden. Those would be the bands that would probably be most affected by this. So Jeff says, can John Cena sue HBO Max for Suicide Squad? Now, see, I don't think John Cena's the type of guy to sue. He does not strike me as that type of guy.
A secondary series out of that deal.
Yeah, exactly. So he ain't going to be suing for anything. Also, HBO Max has actually been pretty straightforward with everybody about their streaming services, for sure. Like,
plus, they only have it for like 2-3 weeks, and then you can't get it.
Right, and then it's gone. So
and then you gotta wait like 5-6 months for it to have normally hit a streaming service.
Which I think is the way.
Bye, Brian.
Like, I feel like if Disney wasn't charging a premium and it was just part of their thing, and they were just like, hey, we understand that there's, because I understand why they're doing it. Well, one, they can make more money this way, but two, there's still people who can't get vaccinated and can't go to the theaters, right? But they still want them to enjoy. Because a lot of, like, at the time, if you were under a certain age, you just didn't get the shot. You couldn't get the vaccination. So, and their main target audience is families. And families not going to leave their kids behind. So they're going to watch it at home.
No comment.
I mean, if I had kids, I'd leave them behind at the but
this is why we don't have kids, Eric.
Disney's issue is their premium service is too premium. If it was even twice as much as regular Disney Plus, it would be worth it. But it's like $40 a month. Yeah, it's like $30 more. It's like, no, if it was double the price of regular, I could see doing it.
What else do you get but from Disney Plus Premium other than these releases? Is there anything else?
Yeah, sometimes they send an agent to your house and then they like jack you off a little bit and then they go away.
Oh, in that case, why haven't I signed up?
Hold on a second.
Oh man.
All right, so I might need to black out the camera for a little bit here.
So do I make like a playlist of Disney celebrities I can have visit me?
Hey, ScarJo, what you doing right now?
So what's this? Emma Stone is considering suing for Cruella too?
I guess so. Well, I mean, that sets the precedent, right? If Scarlett's going to do it. Hey, I'm getting screwed around too. Though. Yeah, but it doesn't matter if she set the precedent. Now,
that's going to make them put it in the deal. And there's going to be a lot of weird stuff coming out of the pandemic of, well, I guess we have to make it official wording in all contracts that in case there's a pandemic that lasts 2 years.
I don't even think it's going to be that. I think this is probably going to be the new norm. I feel like there's going to be a streaming, like, buy ticket thing and a movie theater thing. And I'm kind of excited about it. Because
like officially buy a ticket to get the movie, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like iTunes and
I'm-
Amazon has like 24-hour rentals.
like a rental things. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
You have 24 hours to hit. You have like I think you have like a week to hit play, and then 24 hours once you hit play. Something like that. I think is what it is.
Some BS like that. So let's see
Kyle
if
agrees with me.
I didn't actually see if this was going in the Facebook group or not. So I apologize if we're not currently live in the group or not, because I haven't seen any comments coming out of the group. So if we are currently not live in the Facebook group, I do apologize for that, because I had actually promised we would be. But I don't see us in there yet.
Excited. Because I'm finally at a place where I can actually make a home theater, you know? And sometimes you go to the movie theater and you have a great time. There's action movies that I feel like you need to go see in the movie theater. But if I had one at home, then I don't have to leave the house.
Right. Whew. Yeah, we're not live on Facebook. I apologize for that, guys. I don't really think I can fix that now, but we are on Twitch and YouTube.
Twitch and YouTube. So
yeah, if anybody want to just go into the group real quick and just remind people that we're there, I'll be doing that while you're talking about what you guys are talking about. But yeah, now continue, Eric. Talk about your home theater, because God knows I want one.
Because things have gotten dramatically cheaper. Like it used to be if you wanted a projector and a screen, you were spending a pretty penny, like at least 10 grand. And now you got these 4K projectors, and they're still pretty expensive, but they're cheaper than a 4K TV. Like I saw a 4K projector for like $1,200. Like yeah, that's still kind of expensive, but to get a 4K, like some of these good 4K TV, if you wanted a wall, right? Think of the size of that fucking monitor. You're gonna spend like $5 or $6 grand on the TV,
Right.
or spend $1,200 on a projector, and that's a better.
and then
movie
just
experience.
have a clear white wall, even.
Yeah, even if you don't want to spend money on a screen, like I still would recommend a screen because the silver screens bring out that better contrast or whatever. But like, you just watch it on a fucking wall, and you don't even have to go that expensive. Like the projector that I have downstairs, it's a $500 projector. It's not a 4K, but it's a 1080p. But the refresh rate on it is like 120 hertz, and it's perfect for sports games and stuff like that. You know, you want to watch the Super Bowl, bam, put it right there, and it goes up to 120 inches.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing with a projector, right? Is it's as big as you want it to be. You just
There's a point where
There comes a point where you're seeing pixels, though.
well, yeah, but for 4K, you can probably make that pretty damn big and not.
Yeah, as long as you got that light bulb, you know, that bright ass fucking light, and now they got laser ones too, which I'm not 100% sure how they work, but those are gotta be fucking amazing, nice and sharp.
I saw the one. It's the TV. They specifically advertise it for your basement movie theater. It's like a 256-inch television, and I think it's just the wall. It's just the entire wall is just the TV, and I'm like, man, that is the dream right there. To just have that thing, just set up, have all my game consoles hooked up to it, everything just hook up to it, and then buy the comfiest seat ever invented. One of those big ass recliners that's got like the surround sound built in the back, and it's got the cup holders, one of those like insanely expensive ones, and just sit back and go nuts.
Watch Bumblebee Man.
Bumblebee Man.
This is
Ay,
the
ay,
largest
ay.
television in the world.
Ay, ay, ay. Mi estómago. The largest television in the free world, owned by Mr. Burns. And he uses it to watch Mexican sitcoms.
Bumblebee Man.
I'm going to link something. I wonder if I can do this. Link it in chat without getting, hey, you can't do that.
I don't know.
The first time it's like all super like interactive, right? So did that show up for everybody? I'm not.
I can see it, yeah.
Okay, so I'll put it there on Twitch, and I'll put it on YouTube as well.
Do I dare click this?
Yeah, go for it. It's not porn or anything. I mean, It's nerd porn.
It wasn't my first concern, but okay. This is why.
Like, look at those movie theater seats, dude. They got built-in cup holders in there. You could put the tray thing, so you can have your popcorn.
I remember when the movie theater started having a cup holder in every armrest.
Yeah.
Instead of just every other one, and I was like, we are living in the future.
It's the future, baby.
So you get one of these.
And then the ones that actually moved up and down, every single one moved up and down.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this one. This
Which
one
when
right
you're
here,
a big fat fatty.
Do you
can
like?
recline it and stuff.
Do you like the idea of assigned seats in the theater?
Fucking hate it.
Why is that?
Because I go early.
That's true.
I mean,
Like
unless
people are like,
you
well,
buy
I like to
it.
know that I'm gonna have a seat. It's like I go at 1 p.m. for a fucking reason.
I want to be that guy who goes at like 1 p.m. and be like, is anybody else watching this movie? Yeah, I want to.
I bet at a movie with one other
Right.
person doing a 1 p.m. showing. Want to guess what that movie was? Because it wasn't very
Jumanji.
good. No, I was an adult. Oh yeah, the new Jumanji. Right?
Jumanji.
Terminator Genesis opening day. Me and one guy at 1 p.m.
That's awesome. See, my thing is, I think that there's a pro and a con to it. For me, the big pro is that I can get there right when the previews are starting, and I don't have to go looking for a seat because I already have one.
Yep.
I've already got my assigned seat. The con, of course, there could always be somebody sitting in it, and then you can just yell at them and be like, "No, dumbass, this is my
And
seat."
it's also of where I want to sit is the perfect seat, right? And that's where everyone else is going to want to sit. I don't want to be near people.
Right, exactly.
That's the other thing. It's one of the reasons why I don't go to the theater anymore.
My favorite seat in the theater is not the first couple of rows on the ground, but when you get to the actual stadium seating, going in that first row and then going towards the middle. Because even if somebody sits next to me, there's no one in front of me. And I'm not on the floor, so I'm not doing this the whole time.
You know, I was that guy who took the chance, and I sat right in the chair, like right next to the handicap spot, and those chairs up there, because you don't have to move unless someone who actually needs it gets there. And I took the fucking chance every time. I was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna sit right here because these are the best fucking seats."
Did you ever have to move?
The only time I'm getting kicked out, only once, and I wasn't even mad about it because the movie theater wasn't that full.
Fair enough. I think the other thing is that I like knowing that, yeah, because I feel like I don't have to rush. I know exactly where I'm going. And the worst thing is to get in there and be like, well, where do you want to sit? And like, try to figure that out. No, I already figured that out. I figured that out when I was buying the ticket.
Yeah, I think I like it more now, just because I no longer have to hear this. Hey, we have a party of 5. Can we switch with you guys, or can you move down 2 or something like that?
No, you should have
Fucking
planned
hate
better.
that.
No, you should have planned better. This is my seat. I paid for the seat. You should have planned better. Front row. Please, front row.
Together.
Together. We go. The Brazilian tour groups at Disney. Should we tell some stories, Eric?
Oh my gosh.
Should
I mean,
we?
you can't.
Should we? I think we should. Eric, please explain to all of the listeners who don't understand the theme parks what happens in the summer.
It gets hot. You should have been more specific, man.
Son
All
of a
right,
bitch.
so we have tour groups coming from South America, mostly, right? So Argentina, Brazil, Colombia.
Chile.
That's really the 3, right?
Yeah.
Guatemala,
Chile,
and Ecuador.
Ecuador, yeah. But
If it's below Mexico, they're coming up, is what I'm saying.
yeah, if it's South America, basically, yeah.
Yeah, basically.
So
Oh, Jeff, just like, no, I still have nightmares.
yeah, we're creating PTSD for our former theme park
Oh.
employees here. So what always ends up happening, and now these are huge groups, by the way, and they all wear the same color shirt, and somehow they all coordinate with each other, so everybody shows up in a different color shirt. So there's the yellows, the light blues, the light greens, the pinks, the reds, the oranges. Like, there'll be a whole different thing going on. And there's always like 140 of them with their tour guides and everything. Now, for the most part, we exaggerate a lot of the stories, but for the most part, they're really not that bad. Where the issue comes in is because the Brazilian groups speak Portuguese, which is not the same language as Spanish, which is why we have the most trouble with the Brazilian tour groups. Argentinian, Chile, Colombia, they all speak Spanish. There's always somebody in Florida who can speak Spanish, who can translate, who can talk to these people, right? And the tour guides, every tour guide, by the way, has to know English. They have to. They have to know English. That's how they become the tour guide. Many of them pretend like they don't, so they don't have to deal with the rules. So they can stand up and be loud and eat and drink and piss and be merry and all the other fun stuff that they do. Now, most of the time, they're pretty fun-loving people. They're usually pretty happy to be there. But where we always run into the same issues is... Eric, we can kind of go back and forth on the more common problems we have with these groups. I'll start with one. They like to chant and sing. And when there's 150 of them doing that, it carries. Everybody in the vicinity hears them. And if there's another tour group in the vicinity, they decide to respond.
Oh, yeah. And there's a chanting war. And at Epcot, you can hear chanting chanting literally across the fucking I don't know what else to call it.
The lagoon.
Lake. Yeah, the lagoon. You can hear it at any country around the lagoon. Doesn't matter where you're fucking at. You can hear it. It's obnoxious. Obnoxious.
They also are bitter football rivals. So a lot of the time, they'll start chanting at each other. And sometimes, if you have the right employee...
Never tape your windows.
Yes, thank you. If you have the right employee doing firework control that night, that particular employee, whose name I won't mention, but Eric knows who I'm talking about, may almost start a riot between two tour groups that has to be broken up by multiple managers and security. All because this person decided to join in with the chanting and mixed up which country this person was cheering for. And got the Argentinians mad because this person said Viva Brazil, and they started booing her and yelling. All right, so I said her, so I've eliminated 50% of the population with that. But the Brazilians caught on to this, and they started fighting back, and we had almost 300 people go at it before the fireworks started.
It was so bad. I wanted to quit.
Weren't you coordinator for that?
I was. You know what? I think what was funny was like she was. I almost just sent her home. I just would have just done it myself. Just been short staffed. I should have just called one of the managers over.
Should have. Kyle, if you'd like to know who it is, I'm going to send you a private message. I actually don't remember this person's last name, so hopefully you can figure out the first name and figure out who it was. Although this might actually have been after he left, but... yeah. There was almost a race riot front inventions that Jeff had to deal with. I believe it. Kyle went full Stormstruck there. You taped your windows for a tornado. Dan, have you ever heard that before? Tape your windows during a tornado or a hurricane?
Tape them?
Yeah.
The idea is that if they break, they'd stick to the tape.
Something like that. It's actually a waste of time.
It really is. You're better off cleaning your yard. Sorry.
Just like just like the other one that always made me laugh, which was, do you open up your windows during a tornado to equalize the pressure? No.
You just get everything wet.
When there's 200-mile-per-hour winds, the last thing I'm doing is opening the window to invite that stuff in. The pressure from the tornado doesn't kill you. The flying debris from the tornado kills you.
You know what's fucking funny? I think we're like brain damaged now because of that.
Probably.
We'll never forget it.
Because of Disney? Yes, I am. I are brain damaged because Disney.
I damaged my brain?
We're gonna get Alzheimer's, and we're like, don't tape the windows.
Don't you tape the windows, sonny?
It's a waste of time.
Do you want tiles or shingles for your roof? Well, technically, it's both the right answer. We just did that so no one can actually get a 0 on this. That's the only reason they did that, was because otherwise your score would be 0 and you would be very stupid. When I used to test Stormstruck in the morning, I picked all the wrong answers, so the house was completely destroyed for the test video, by the way. The only one you can't do is the shingles or tiles, so I would just alternate whichever one. But if I was opening, I picked every wrong answer for all 8 questions. So I got all 7 of them wrong, and I just watched the house implode when the tornado came back. The doors open inward. I opened up the windows. I put in the big tree. No. You wanted the big tree. But
Yeah,
this one's native to
hip.
Florida. Yeah, it's hip. Real friggin' hip. Oh, my God. Hey, that's a good point, Jeff. How long did it take you to stop doing the Disney point? Because it took me about 5 years. And now I can actually do this. And this actually feels...
So vulgar, Chris.
Yes. Vulgar.
Vulgar.
You know, it took me a little while, but there was one thing that like really helped me along, and it was me just being able to just kind of do this.
It's up there.
And not get fired.
How do you get there? Oh, you go up the elevator.
Eric once said son of a bitch in front of a kid.
I really did.
I called a bunch of campers a bunch of a-holes.
They probably deserved it.
They did. It was the worst week of the entire summer. Everybody else at camp had the best week of the entire summer. It was a great weekly wrap-up on Saturday before we got the day off. So how'd you guys feel this week? Oh, it was the best week this entire summer. And me and the CIT that was with me that week just look at each other like freaking Jim Halpert. I had the worst week ever.
I wish Matt Hardman... Matt, if you're listening to this right now, I could tell a funny camp story, because Matt ran the games section of camp, and every single week during the summer, at least one of those days would be dedicated to dodgeball, and we always did counselors versus kids, and that was like the best and worst idea ever, because it was like 6 counselors versus like 40 kids, but the counselors won all the time. And I feel like that was just us getting our aggression out from these children by just whipping kickballs at them. And it was such a bad idea. But I 100% made a kid cry because I whipped a kickball at and hit him in the face and he started crying. And I feel bad about it now, but 14-year-old Chris thought it was funny. Actually, 36-year-old Chris still thinks it's funny, but now at least I have some compassion.
Yeah, fuck your kids.
I mean, the kid probably deserved
somehow
it.
The worst thing I've said to a guest was hell. Jeff, weren't you there when they finally broke the TV at UL?
He might have been.
Like, was that you? Someone said, "Oh shit!" really loud when the TV blew up.
I mean, yeah, it was Jeff. Oh, there you have it. I did say oh shit in front of a guest, but I got a pass because the platform almost killed me. Because the platform started retracting while I was still on it, and I went, oh shit, and I jumped off of it. And then Melissa is just like, it's okay. I think you're forgiven for that one. Like, considering I almost just got severely injured, yes, I think that one counts.
You get a pass if you almost die.
If you almost die, yeah, you get a pass. I mean... you flipped off Tom Morrow. Why would you do that? The stuff we would quote unquote get away with. I mean, Eric got our manager to ride a
Listen,
ride
I
two
think one of
hammerheads.
the funniest times like I ever had at interventions was Habit Heroes. You didn't have any hand sanitizers or whatever, and we had to like go in behind people while they were doing the games, but like before the next show. So we're kind of like a room apart, you know, kind of just chasing each other so we can get into the closet, which was hilarious. So it was me and Tom. I'm not sure if you remember Tom or not.
There were a couple of Toms, but there's
Tom and Sonia.
Okay, Tom. Yeah. Okay, that Tom.
Yeah. Okay. So it was me and him. We had to go in there because I don't know. It was extra staff or whatever. So we're going in there to like put up the hand sanitizer against the wall, and I had to bring the little hand sanitizer juice, put in the little cartridge or whatever, so you can go. But it wasn't working. So I'm like literally in there, and I would look over at Tom and like, hey. Tom, we're in the closet as I'm like jacking off this little thing of hand sanitizer to get it to work. And the funny thing is, I wasn't expecting it, but it exploded all over Tom. And he's just like, oh, nice. I just died laughing. Fucking. It just looked like I jizzed all over him.
Yeah, whatever you guys do in the closet is all, you know, I mean, it's 2021. I don't judge.
Oh, man, it was so funny.
That should have been. Could you imagine if that was one of the bad habits that Habit Heroes wanted kids to break? Kids, don't masturbate. Here's a game to prevent you from doing that.
Or isn't it chewing gum was made to battle masturbation? So you had something idle to do instead of jerking off?
Well, never stopped me. Can you chew gum and rub your belly at the same time? Cool. I know something else you can do if you chew gum at the same time.
Oh, I remember. God. Dude, there were so many times, man, I was coordinating and somebody would be like, oh, like I'd get called out there whenever a guest would get upset, and I'd go talk to them because they'd ask for a manager, but they're not available, so it'd be me. And they'd be like, Chris did this, and it made me upset, and you were off. And I'm just like, great, fucking could be anybody, because everybody at fucking had the Chris from Orlando name.
Yeah, Chris from Orlando. So that doesn't narrow it.
It's just like, oh well, I will talk to them. And like, he's not that way. I know that. And I walked away.
Good God. I think we've
welcome back, Ryan. Looks like you're out of work now.
Yes, welcome back. Yeah, Jeff, that might be a problem if you're the only Jeff that works there and somebody reports you.
Yeah. You should have had a Chris name tag.
I remember that day I had to loan you my spare Chris name tag because you forgot yours, and it wasn't the Orlando, it was Chris from Vernon, New Jersey. And I'm like, Eric, before I give this to you, I need a promise from you. I do not want to get written up today. So you need to be... You at least can't do anything I wouldn't do. Which isn't really that much of a stretch for you, actually. So
yeah, I was just like,
you were a little ballsier with breaking stuff than I was, but it wasn't that far off. So I was just like, just tone it back to my level, and we're good for the day. But if you don't do the regular Eric stuff, do Eric light, and we're okay. And and by the way, if anybody gives you like a super good compliment or anything, that's for me. You're gonna share that with me.
They always got us confused anyway.
I know, that's what made it the best part. They always mixed us up. We do not look that much alike to completely mix us up.
There was one day I gave Paul my name tag. He gave me his. We just walked around for a little bit, and the managers got us mixed up. And I was just like, yeah, you guys don't fucking care. You have no idea who we are.
You guys don't look alike either.
I know.
It's because they knew that the three of us and Josh all hung out.
Yeah.
They were just like, well, it's going to be one of those four, so they just had the names in our heads, and you have a 25% chance of getting it right at that point. So just throw a name out there. And then when we got Nolan mixed up,
Nolan.
Poor Nolan got mixed up with us too. We corrupted him. I think he He was a more innocent mind before the four of us came along.
You just yell all their names every time.
Just
Like I've been told all the time, like family stuff. My great grandmother just yelling out like half the kids' names.
Well,
They'd
I'm
be like Nancy, Dorothy, Irene, because it would be one of them.
bound to
And
get
they'd
one
all
of them
come
right.
running.
Well, as long as you remember the correct names, sure, eventually.
Oh shit.
Uh,
Yeah, I've been called my uncle and my great uncle my whole life.
Have you
They're like,
ever?
oh, hey, Brian there. I mean, buddy. I mean, Daniel. Jeez.
Have you ever been told that you look like you should have a different first name?
Yes.
What do you look like, Eric?
I don't know. But somebody's just like, oh, Eric? You don't look like an Eric.
You should be a
I'm just like-
Sam.
I don't know what that means. You think I'd
Like
be a
Sam?
Sam?
Sam.
I guess. So the one that always made me laugh was somebody was like, you don't look like a Chris, you look more like a Michael. And I was like, well, guess what? That is because in every Italian family, there's the name, right? The family name, where it's you've got 12 uncles and cousins all named Michael. Well, guess which one happens to be on my mom's side of the family. So I was like, you know what? Yes, you are correct. Because even though I've got the Irish last name, I look Italian, and Michael is associated as an Italian name. So therefore, I should be Mike. Hey, Mikey! So yeah,
I mean,
I've got
Chris
Mike.
and Mike are about equal in basic bitch names.
But they are, at one point, they were number 1 and number 2 for most common boy names. Like,
And then John.
and then John.
Yeah.
Although really, we all have relatively common names.
Yeah.
I'd actually argue that Eric probably has the least common name out of the three of us.
Right, the three of us, yeah.
Compared to the three of us, yeah. But, like, you know, none of us have a really unusual name.
Jeff, I didn't even get written up for my middle finger. Yeah, no. I mean, Jeff, think about who you worked with, man. It was, I don't want to mention any names, but we had a guy who sat on his cane and it just looked like it was a stick up his butt.
Oh my god. I
And
remember
I
that.
have to mention one name. I will say one name. Loretta. And I mean, just, you're not getting fired, bro. You weren't getting fired. They couldn't afford to lose you.
No, they really couldn't. They didn't fire. There was that one CP that was training under Melissa, and she just couldn't do anything with him. And then after like 2 weeks, they just let him go. They're just like, all right, look, we can't do this with you anymore, because he was just like he was like the epitome of awful. He couldn't get anything right. Couldn't do any of the positions right. Couldn't get any of the safety things right. Like letting kids in with the wrong color cards and everything. And after a while, you just get, if they're completely untrainable, then yeah, that's one thing. But yeah, they never really did fire that many people that I remember. Like,
No, they always just got recasted to like custodial or something.
I mean, I'm not gonna tell any reveal any names here, and I can't reveal any names because one of them actually ended up at Intervention, so I'm really not gonna reveal who this is. I'll tell you in private, Eric. I'm sure someone else is gonna ask too, but 3 Safari drivers got caught having a threesome on the truck.
Oh.
And all 3 of them got recast, and one of them ended up at Interventions. And I remember walking into Interventions when I started up there again, seeing that person there and going, oh, I would have thought they would have fired that person, but apparently...
No, you don't get you don't get fired for love, man. Love is love.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
don't do it on property.
Oh, my God, yeah. Put on some Val Venus music for that one.
Oh, God.
Jeff knows who I
kinda
mean,
wanna
yes.
know who it is. I think I know who it is, but I'm not 100% sure.
I'll tell you off the air who it was. Okay. It's probably going to be somebody that would surprise you if you even remember who this person was. But yeah, I mean, I remember seeing a Safari driver working in a shop in the land, and I remember messaging somebody, and they're like, oh yeah, they got retransferred. I'm like, really? That was somebody who I thought would have been like a lifer there, but screw up one too many times, and they They told me that during my safari training too. They're like, for the love of God, don't hit an animal or you're going to go push a popcorn cart in Epcot. Like, that was the exact line I was told. I'm like, well, I'm not planning on hitting any friggin' animals, so...
Nice.
They did force transfer one poor kid away from safari because he drove a flamingo to its death. Not a flamingo, oh my god, I don't remember the birds we had in the hippo area. It was...
They're called ducks.
And it wasn't a duck. And it was actually one of the native... No, it wasn't one of the regular-ass ducks. That would have been okay. But the only reason he didn't get fired was because the coordinator kept telling him to push the truck forward. You know, you have to stop 10 feet behind the animal, and then if the animal's moving, you're allowed to keep going. And they told him to keep going, keep going, keep going. And the bird panicked, jumped into the crocodile pen, and that was the end of the bird. So he was really upset about that, and they're like, well, we're not going to fire you, but we'll just force transfer you. And I think he ended up at Bug's Life. But I was kind of mad about that. I'm like, well, how about the coordinator that told him to keep doing it? Did they get force transferred? So.
It's not fair. Suicide jump into a crocodile pit. Not his fault.
Oh my
It's the
God.
circle of life.
Some of the best safari stories involved animals doing what comes natural, whether it was them going into another animal or something coming out of them. And little kids were always very entertained by that.
What's the name of that song? It goes, you and me, baby.
Bloodhound Gang. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bad Touch by Bloodhound Gang.
Yes.
Yeah, I knew what you were talking about. God damn it. Yeah, imagine if that song had played at Disney. That would have been awesome. They ain't nothing but mammals.
And then we'll do it doggy style so we can both watch X-Files. Doing it.
What does that even mean? Let's watch
It means they're banging doggy style so they both are facing the TV and watching X-Files.
Thank you, Dan. I do know what doggy style is. I
Okay.
appreciate the
They
explanation.
can both see the television and watch the high quality programming on Fox in the late 90s.
I will go on
That's
record.
the dream, right?
I'm going to go on record and say this right now. That has happened in my life precisely 0 times to the fucking X-Files. That is not my go-to in that scenario. It has not happened, and I don't think it's going to.
If we get turned on by X-Files,
Well, I'm just saying they started banging at 7:55 on Sunday, and X-Files comes on at 8, and you're not going to be done for another 5 minutes at least.
I mean,
You're being 5 minutes. Man,
Sure
you're being
enough.
generous.
Pretty hot.
2.5, man. Where does 5 minutes come from? 2.5 is okay, right? Right? This is why I'm glad I'm not in the dating pool anymore.
Best man alive.
That's what explains why you can't get a date. That was a joke on a kid show, by the way. Friggin', what was that? Hawk Girl said that to the Flash, right?
Yeah, Flash.
Fastest man alive. She goes, that's why you can't get a date. Dude, my favorite adult joke ever on a kid show will always be Rocco working the specialty phone operator. Oh, baby, oh, baby, oh, baby. And you just hear, Rocco? Mrs. Bighead? And they just quickly hang up the phone. And the little note says, like, be hot, be courteous. Like, specialty phone operator. Oh, God, I love that show so much.
So, yeah.
So, Jesus. All right. I promised I was going to tell the story on the air for Eric, and I'm going to keep that promise now. Eric, are you aware that there is currently a boycott going on Domino's Pizza?
No. But I was looking forward to this. Go ahead.
Okay.
Share.
So, Dan, should we give him the back history of the guy we're going to talk about here?
Oh, we're going to talk about MDK himself, Nick fucking Gage!
Yes. Okay, so you know who Chris Jericho is, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So there is a wrestler named Nick Gage. He is the king of deathmatch wrestling. And all of you non-wrestling fans don't have to know jack about wrestling to understand why this is funny, by the way. So stick with us. I promise this is a good story. So Nick Gage is the king of deathmatch wrestling. He's the guy that works the style where they break the fluorescent light tubes over their heads and do insane stuff with barbed wire and explosions. And it's not wrestling. It's basically jackass shit in a ring. But It's got its own little niche audience, and he's the king of it. He's the undisputed king of all, like, the death match guys out there. He's probably the best one at it. Nick Gage also very infamously robbed a bank without a mask on. So when they put out the wanted
we're not
post,
talking COVID mask. We're talking about robbing a bank mask.
yeah, robbing a bank mask. He robbed the bank, and they put out the flyer for his arrest. And all the fans of CZW, Combat Zone Wrestling, were like, "Oh, that's the fucking champion, Nick Gage," and they immediately nailed him for it.
He had a weekend in Atlantic City and turned himself in afterwards.
And his fucking gimmick, he'd come out with the bandana and everything, like, you know, the one bandana here and the other one here, and they're like, the one time you didn't wear a bandana, it's the time you should have when you robbed the bank. Dumb shit. So, oh my god, that was such a funny thing too, like the whole. And now he has like a pretty tragic story and everything. They did an episode of Dark Side of the Ring on him, you know, and he's got a messed up. He's had addiction issue and everything, but because of his reputation, they're doing an angle in the All Elite Wrestling Company where Chris Jericho is, where Jericho's going through like the 5 labors of Jericho, where the guy he's feuding with is making him fight 5 matches with his stipulation, putting the odds against him. A typical wrestling storyline, right? Oh, you want a shot at me? Well, you got to go through all this shit first, and I get to choose what you go through. So they made Jericho wrestle a death match against this dude, Nick Gage. And in the grand scheme of what a death match is, this is one of the better ones because it was on national TV, so they couldn't go for all the extreme blood and guts and everything. By the way, Nick Gage clinically died during a wrestling match. He actually bled out. He was dead for like 5 or 6 minutes before he got resuscitated.
And they couldn't get an ambulance in there because it was a King of the Death.
Yeah, it was in the middle of a cornfield, so they had to get a helicopter to come in and get him.
The owner's family's farm is where they do this event because they can't get insured anywhere else for this.
Yeah, so they have
event.
to do it on private property, basically.
So they couldn't get an ambulance, so they had to get the helicopter to get him, and he died on the helicopter.
He died on the helicopter, but they did resuscitate him. He was clinically dead for like 5 minutes. So that should explain it. And he's definitely not all there upstairs. Now, one positive thing I will say about him is he's very loyal to his fan base, the people who like him, and he's very respectful of his fans. So I'll give him credit there because I respect any famous person who appreciates their fans. Regardless of how much I respect that person, I will always respect that aspect of them. You know, like, let's say the 3 of us actually become famous doing this to a degree where we do have, you know, hundreds of thousands of listeners. I'm going to respect every one of them for being my fan. Even if I don't necessarily respect some of the personal things about them in life, because we're always going to have disagreements on shit, but I do still respect that. So
anyway,
so the
one
matches,
of his go-to spots,
oh my god,
as a deathmatch wrestler is he will pull out a pizza cutter, and he will cut your forehead or act like he's going to cut out your tongue or whatever. Well, AEW, they go to the spot with the pizza cutter.
Now
he starts using it.
Yeah, he's gouging Jericho's head with the pizza cutter, right?
So they have the picture-in-picture commercials.
Yeah, so
you can still see what's happening in a small
screen,
picture,
nice and tiny here. But here's the commercial happening over here.
So what commercial comes on, Chris?
Domino's Pizza. And there's a famous screenshot. It's the Domino's Pizza ad while Nick Gage is holding up the pizza cutter covered in blood on the other thing, and people screenshotted the shit out of that. So, Domino's caught wind of this, got pissed about the spot, and go, well, if that's what we're going to be associating with as a sponsor, then maybe we'll just pull our sponsors off of All Elite Wrestling. And the All Elite Wrestling fans responded and said, fuck you. We're not going to eat Domino's anymore if that's going to be your attitude. And now they are actively boycotting Domino's.
Oh my god. That's the perfect spot. I feel like that's great. Who else is going to see that?
A friend of ours ordered Domino's right after it.
Yes. Shout out to Chev. He was like, I'm in the mood for some Domino's. Oh, and shout out to Glenn and Joey Image, who are getting Domino's right now as we record this. As a direct result of this. Oh, that's so funny that's how that
I
would...
wonder if they saw like a notable uptick at like 9:45 p.m. or whatever this was.
Right? Well, I don't think they do deliveries till what, 10? Depending on where you are. No, actually, some of them do them all the way up until midnight.
Isn't it on DoorDash? Can't you just get it as long as people are willing to fucking drive to you?
Well, I know that they deliver after 10 because one night we were trying to go to bed and we got this bang on our door. It was in the middle of like a really, really bad thunderstorm too, and somebody was just banging on our front door. And I actually answered the door with my taser in my hand. Because you don't know why somebody's banging on the door. Especially, and it was a poor Domino's guy at the wrong address. And I actually felt really bad for him after that. I kept the taser behind my back so he didn't actually
So then
see
you
it.
tased him and you took the pizza, right?
No. God, that's just evil. No, you know why I would never do that?
took
Because
the
then
pizza,
somebody
dude.
didn't get their pizza, and that's just not cool. I would never ever take somebody else's food because then that person doesn't have food. It's not worth it. I cannot do that. That is something I have to sympathize with. I can't steal food. Because, not correction, I can't steal someone else's food. If we're at like a party and there's a lot of food, I might take some of that home. But
Well,
if
food
it's
for everybody.
but if it's on your plate, I'm not touching your plate because that's your food. Because I sure as hell don't want you touching my food. So, if you claim that cookie, and you better claim that cookie, because if you don't claim the cookie, I'm eating the cookie.
I am that way with the exception of one item. Fries. If there's a fry,
You're
I'm
one
gonna
of
steal
those.
one.
Jesus.
I'm gonna steal a fry.
You know
You're not
what?
going to be like the stereotypical girlfriend that's like, I'm not hungry. Maybe I'll just have a fry. Or another fry. Or another fry, and then there's no fries.
We're going to replace that word girlfriend with wife. And I might be relating to this story very personally.
I'm not even hungry.
You know what, Eric? I'm gonna put you and my wife at the same table, and I'm just gonna put fries down in front of you guys, and I'm just gonna let nature take its course, and I want to see what happens.
Oh, we probably won't fight. We just eat it all.
No. There's gonna be a distinction as to whose fries are who.
What do you mean? Like you put fries on her plate and fries on mine?
Yes, and I'm gonna put the plates next to each other, and we're just gonna we're gonna see what happens. Because one of you is gonna finish before the other one, and there's still gonna be fries out there, and we both know that fries are like potato chips. You don't just finish your fries.
Okay. If you think for a second anyone could outspeed eat me on fries, you're insane.
Okay.
I do have enough restraint to not purposely. See, I couldn't do that to Shannon. I couldn't do that to Shannon. I could probably do it.
Really? Okay.
Okay. I've known you longer, and I would do it just to annoy you a little bit, not to make you angry or anything.
No, but it would work. Because you could just literally remove one single fry and just eat it, and I'll be in a bad mood immediately. I'll be like, really? Really? You'd be like, but it's just one fry. I'm like, excuse me. But that's one less fry that I get to eat now. This is how it's going to be, Eric? Okay. Okay, Eric. Eric, okay. Okay, Eric. God damn it. Yeah, Jeff says anyone who's ever dated or been married has had that happen. Uh-huh. It's not always just with fries either.
But she's not even hungry.
That's the worst. I'd be like, nah, bitch, you said no. I offered to get you food. Now you got to sit there and starve. You made your bed. Let's sleep in it.
My favorite is when I will announce that I'm going to get something to eat. To be like, well, I'm not hungry. Be like, okay. Well, I'm going to this place, and I'm going to get food. Are you sure you don't want anything? Nope. I'm like, okay, well, if you change your mind, text me. And then
if you text me when I'm on my way out of there, you're fucked.
Then that happened. Because I get the text like, hey, did you order yet? I'm like, yeah, I'm already on my way home. Oh. Should have decided earlier.
Missed it by
Sometimes,
that much.
sometimes if she's doing that, sometimes I'll just have her get me something, even if I'm not hungry at that moment. It could be something that I don't mind if I eat it a little cold, just so that I have food and I'm not like regretting not getting anything. But
Yeah, just
My
get
trick.
like your same basic thing, right? Like just
And
Right.
I kid you not, if I'm going out and I ask Rebecca if she wants something and she says no, I'm buying a 6-piece nugget at least. So when I get there, she goes, "What'd you get me?" I give you a 6-piece nugget because you said no. Or, and I've done this before too, I'll eat my food in the car and I'll come back with nothing.
hopefully she's not watching this right now, as I'm admitting these mistakes. Now, stay with me on this one, okay? Just tell me you want something from the fucking restaurant. It's not that hard. Well,
You're like, babe, I'm going to McDonald's. You want me to just grab you a couple of burgers?
they say
Burgers.
they say communication is key in every marriage.
Well, she's talking. She ain't saying nothing, but she's talking.
The words, yeah, I could say a lot of words too, but
just sit there like, wow, we've been here talking for 30 minutes and you said absolutely nothing. and move on.
I mean, you've been talking, but you ain't saying nothing.
I mean, listen, I do podcasts. I'm an expert at talking and not saying anything, okay? So don't challenge me on that one. Here's a great question from Jeff. Who is the one celebrity you'd want to interview on the Nerd Table? That's a good one. All right, so all three of us, we get to pick one famous person that we can interview on this show. We each get one. Who would it be? Could be really a tough question because, like, there are a lot of directions I can go with that too. I mean, I can interview all the stuff that I like, all the actors that I like, all of the famous wrestlers that I'm a fan of.
Oh, you're wearing a Wrestle t-shirt? A Wrestles?
I'm wearing
Okay,
the
hold on.
Wrestle t-shirt, sir.
Oh,
Any
ESPY
celebrity-
Award winner Sasha Banks?
Damn
Any
right.
celebrity, like past or present?
Well, I'm assuming
Well,
they would
I'm
have to be
guessing
alive to be on the show.
Alive for us to actually do the interview?
Man, because there's one person, but like
All right, well, who would it have been?
Robin Williams.
Yeah, I would have said that too. Okay. All right, well, let's say cuz I have my main answer of who I would a dream interview, and then I have a realistic answer of who I actually think we could get on the show with just a little more popularity behind us. Which one would you like me to say first?
Who do you think we can get on the show?
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Oh,
An interview with Neil deGrasse Tyson is a goal for a show like this that promotes nerd culture and everything, and we're all science-minded. Like, that would just be the coolest interview ever, because his interviews are always phenomenal. And he makes you think. Like, I come out of that feeling smarter, because he makes you think about stuff deeply. And just everything about the universe and space fascinates the hell out of me.
see, I was going more the comedy direction because I love. Oh, you know what? I know who exactly who I'd bring onto the show. But I'll go last.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I'll
Okay.
go last.
Do you want my dream answer then? If we could
Yeah,
have
what's
if
your
we could
dream-
have anybody right now, Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks. In my opinion, the best actor in Hollywood right now. Not only do I think he's a phenomenal actor, but I think he's a phenomenal person. And it would just be a pleasure to talk to him.
Okay, I can see that.
Dan, who do you got?
I'm trying to think of somebody that could do more than just talk about one thing. Because, like, talking about like actors and people like that
Well,
that make TV shows and movies and stuff. Like, I wouldn't want, like, just because like, there's plenty of like Doctor Who people that didn't do much more than just Doctor Who. You know, like it would be cool to talk to them, but we would only talk about Doctor Who.
I would love to talk to David Tennant. You could get a lot out of
So, yeah,
David
that's
Tennant.
who I was thinking was David Tennant, because then we could talk Doctor Who, then we could
Talk
turn
Jessica
around
Jones.
and talk about just to do the little Marvel. We could do the bit of Harry Potter. We could do, you know, all kinds of stuff.
Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Good Omens. Good Omens.
Yeah, Good
Good
Omens.
Omens, yeah.
I talk about Good Omens season 2 they're working on now.
Plus, that's another guest that would fit into the parameters of this type of a podcast, too.
Yeah.
Because everything that he's just done there that you just mentioned is all nerd culture type stuff, so.
And he is a nerd himself because he was a big Doctor Who fan growing up.
Absolutely.
And he married the daughter of one of the doctors.
Yeah, he did.
Fucking-
He married the daughter of his favorite doctor.
Right? Oh, life goals. Life goals.
He's good.
Don't ever stop reaching. That should be a motivational poster.
Follow your dreams.
Tennant. Just don't stop reaching.
That's a motivational poster for sure.
So mine, I still want the comedy route, but this particular comedian, like his comedy is funny and it makes you think about like society as a whole and where we are as people.
So not Jeff Foxworthy, okay.
Yeah, not Jeff.
No.
Dave Chappelle.
Yes, great choice. I love Dave Chappelle. That would be a great guest to have on here too. An interview with Dave Chappelle.
Because he hits you with some serious shit and make you laugh at the same time.
Man,
I think there's quite a few comedians that we would be realistic if we grew, because they're doing the same thing we're doing.
Yeah.
And it would just be an opportunity for them to come share their stuff with us and us to share our stuff with them. And get their fans of us and our fans of them.
I feel like Tom Segura we'd be fucking great friends with Tom Segura.
I have a cat.
Oh, is it the birthday boy?
No, it's the obnoxious girl.
No.
Let's see if I'm going to try to coax her up on my lap so she can appear on the show.
I have been actually.
I apologize to my shoe.
Oh, Lily did not eat your shoe. Perry ate your shoe.
That's what I said. Get Perry. I want Perry to apologize for eating my shoe.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
For showing up at 4 a.m. or whatever it was.
It was 9 a.m. That was still too early.
Yeah. Okay.
If you get a chance, he's done another show with Michael Sheen called Staged. Who did that?
Staged was like a BBC one. It was.
You're talking about David Tennant.
It was basically we couldn't do any shows because of the pandemic, and so it's a Zoomed TV show.
That's
of
awesome.
Them talking about putting on a play, and then all these other people would come in. And I've only seen clips of it. I want to actually watch the show.
Where is it at? What is it streaming on? Oh, hello! Look at that.
See, I knew I was going to coax her up here. Come on. So, hopefully everybody's watching the video version of this. You can see my kitty. That's Lily. I know she's thrilled, right?
Fair.
She's thrilled. She's thrilled right now. Well, she wanted to get up on my lap, so I let her. And now she's still here. See? What do you have?
I've got a Baymax.
Okay, fair enough.
It's not the same.
You can still cuddle with that. Lily.
Staged is on Hulu.
And now there's just a tail up by my neck because the cat's cat's on my lap. Okay, I'll check that out. Okay, I've got a guest that we actually could probably get at the stage we're at now to appear on our show. I would just have to reach out to them with contact information and work it into their schedule. James Rolfe, the Angry Video Game Nerd. Because that would be perfect publicity, and he would probably be willing to do it. He's actually launching a podcast called the Cinemassacre Podcast with the two guys he does rental reviews with. And I bet that would actually be a realistic type goal that we could achieve with where we are on the show right now. Honestly, probably just a few extra hundred listeners than the few hundred we have now, and we'd probably be there. So I say, yeah, that would be a realistic one. Plus, I'm a huge fan of his, and we could easily geek out about video game stuff, movie making, which he's passionate about. And I just watched the new AVGN episode today. I'm always looking through his old stuff for ideas on some of the crappy games that he's played, for ideas, the stuff that I can play to see if some of those games really are that crappy. So I discovered that the Nightmare on Elm Street game is actually kind of fun, and the Friday the 13th game really is that bad. I'm like, one of these isn't so bad. Oh, but this Friday the 13th game is friggin' awful. But then I got it on the PlayStation. I got the new one, so I can always play that.
I'm trying to think of, like, our personality is so out there because we talk about just random stuff all the time.
Sure. What's wrong with that?
No, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's just like there's no other celebrities out there. I would love to get like James Franco and Seth Rogen on here.
Yeah, so just get high and talk about everything.
Oh yeah, it'd be a fucking blast.
They could be philosophical about everything, really. Well, I mean, that's
Get
just
those
it,
two
though.
and, like Snoop Dogg.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but Snoop Dogg
Who
recently
who do you think?
had some interesting streams.
Yeah.
He recently had a stream where he rage quit the game he was playing and did not turn off the stream until 7 hours later when he came back to his computer.
That's awesome.
And then he also went 3 out of 4 straight streams with no audio at all.
That's awesome. That is friggin' amazing. That's hopefully not the type of stream that I would end up doing.
Well, you're not already world famous before you do all these things.
Well, yeah.
I still think it's the greatest meme ever, but it's basically somebody says Snoop Dogg has finished the game and he's just doing all the side quests now. Like he's just doing whatever the fuck he wants. He
Remember when he was like Snoop Lion for like a month? He got into reggae and he made a reggae album.
My favorite thing with Snoop Dogg was when there was the picture of him cooking with Martha Stewart and people were making jokes. They're like, oh, Snoop Dogg thinks he's so tough, but, you know, Martha Stewart's actually been to prison, LOL. It's like, yep, we've reached the generation that forgot that Snoop Dogg was on trial for murder. We've officially reached that generation. The generation who doesn't know who Tom Anderson is anymore. Remember Tom Anderson? Not the guy from Beavis and Butthead either. Talking about the guy that made MySpace. With the picture where he's sitting with the
oh my God.
the wall with all the writing on it. He's doing the over the shoulder smile.
He's my friend.
Yeah. Tom was my first friend.
He can't. He's just like a stalker that won't go away.
We turned our backs on Tom and we went to Zuck.
Is MySpace still up?
Yes, I was just on my MySpace the other day looking for something, actually.
I disabled him. I turned mine off.
Because Joey Image is looking for an old wrestling picture, and I thought maybe it might have been on one of our MySpaces, so I went on mine to try to find it, and of course, had no success there because I can't even locate my own pictures. But I was able to locate my friends list and who remained, and I found all kinds of people that I completely forgot existed. Like random people that you're friends with from like high school and college because you were just adding them to have people on your friends list. And you realize that you don't care about these people at all, so why do you have them?
Oh, dude, MySpace was the fucking worst because you had like the top 4 or top 8 or whatever, and they're like, "Well,
yes,
how come
but
this
if you
person's
became
ahead of me?"
Yeah, but if you became friends with the X-Men 2 official MySpace, you got to go up to 16.
Yep, I had that. I had a top 16, and then there was a top 32, and I had a top 32 at one point.
I didn't do any of that shit. I was just like, I don't want anybody to know who my friends are.
My MySpace,
I have no friends except Tom.
My MySpace is so outdated that the email I use to get into it is no longer a working email. So like, if I ever get locked out of my MySpace, that's just it's the end. I'm permanently done.
Is it like an old AOL thing?
It's an old ass Yahoo email I used during college.
Yeah, mine would be my old Hotmail, right? And it would be Hotmail.
Oh
Because
my God.
2007, I went to be with my grandparents for the summer and help them out with some stuff. And then I got the job at GameStop, so I stayed there for like 9 months. And they had 56K dial up, and I was not loading MySpace on 56K. Not with all the GIF gifs and the auto playing music and
No. No. Yeah, I had MySpace back during the dial-up days, so it would take a very long time to get onto my friends' profiles.
Brian, Hotmail does still exist somehow. Yes, they
Yes, it
do.
does.
It's because it's owned by Microsoft.
Yep.
That was when they went. They went from like Hotmail to like MSN, then to Live. I don't know what it is now. I think it's just Live, right?
What was your
Something.
first email address?
Oh, I have no. It was something with Net Zero.
Oh my
because
God,
Net Zero was like the way to get a.
Do you
Remember
want to
that
know what
shit?
mine was? Oh my God. My first screen name. This is so embarrassing. Everybody's embarrassed by their first screen name. Mine was Make 7 Up Yours 666.
Those Orlando Jones commercials.
Do you remember the Make 7 Up Yours commercials? And the 666 was because my buddy's email was do 666, and I wanted to be cool like him. So I went with the other soda slogan and added 666 to it. Oh my God, that was an
My first
actual
email
thing.
was like Dan P at Prodigy because they had made an AOL like interface at one point, and that's what my dad got at one point, and that was the first thing I did.
My first website was a Pokemon fan page, and it didn't have a URL or anything because I signed up to get a free web page through our local internet provider from Warwick, New York. So it was like warwick.net / a bunch of letters and numbers, and when you clicked on it, it was like the Pokemon page. Oh God.
That's the worst, Brian. So Brian put that he lost his old MMO account because his email went defunct. So he has no recovery for it.
Oh, that's...
Guild Wars was fucking awesome too. The original Guild Wars 2 is still good. Don't get me wrong, but like the original was just fucking mind blowing. It's just I can't play it now because it suffers from the same. Wow, I used to play this crap mentality. You know, like back when PS1 graphics were like, this is so realistic, and now you look at it and you're like, no wonder my eyesight.
Why is it flashing so much? I'm gonna have a seizure over here.
The special effects back in the day was just blink white and every other frame.
You remember when we were blown away by what the N64 and the PlayStation 1 looked like? That was like the epitome of graphics. We're like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Oh, this is just like I'm watching an actual basketball game.
And now you look at what a PS5 can do, and you look back at PS1, you're like, really? I actually thought this was good?
I can't even play PS1 anymore.
No. So it depends on what you're playing, right? Like you can play Symphony of the Night because that still looks like 16-bit graphics.
Pixel art is still good. Like you still make pixel art games now. So
oh yeah,
I feel like it's timeless. And
some simple graphics will sometimes age well. That's why Super Nintendo graphics age better than Nintendo 64 graphics. That's why Super Mario World actually looks better than Super Mario 64 graphic-wise.
When they started making cel-shaded games like on the PS2 and stuff like that, at first I wasn't a huge fan. They didn't look bad. I just wasn't a huge fan because I was like, "Oh, these aren't like looking realistic." But now they're the ones that actually aged the best.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Sly Cooper.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just looks fucking great now. I mean, for a PS2 game, and it's easier to remaster. So yeah.
I mean, go back and look at what the original Metal Gear Solid looked like, what Final Fantasy VII looked like, and then look at what they've evolved into, and they just don't look good anymore. But for the time, that would blow your mind. The cinematic games, like the cutscenes in Metal Gear Solid and Final Fantasy VII, and the voice acting and everything. Now you go back and you look at it and you listen to it, and you're like, man, son of a bitch. This used
People
to be the greatest thing ever.
masturbated to Lara Croft's triangle tits.
Yeah. I mean, that is true.
Okay, that should be the title of this episode. Is people masturbated to Laura Croft's triangle tits? You gotta make it happen, Chris.
There are 2 words in there that I can't put on this title of this episode without causing a problem. So what if I just said people enjoyed Laura Croft's triangles and made that the title? And perhaps I think that's enough for people to get that, right?
Oh my god. That was good.
Why? Why did you... No, you know what, Eric? You're just... Yeah, okay. We needed some special Eric blend. For some...
This is how we come up with our titles, by the way.
Yeah, we've been doing that since the Wrestle Talk days. The title of the episode would always be something random we would just say in the middle of the episode. We'd be like, wow, that was ridiculous. Let's make that the title.
And people will be like, what the hell is this episode title? Like, what is this about?
Well, you have to listen to the episode to figure it out.
Gotta find out, man. And this one will be a long one. You gotta wait an hour 55 to find out when this one came in.
Right.
Morrowind graphics and Skyrim. You know, the thing about that is that they used... Bethesda has this thing about reusing the same engine for, like, multiple games. So all of their games look exactly the fucking same. Like, even if there's, like, a new generation. Like, Fallout 3 and Fallout 4. Yeah, Fallout 4 is better, but not by much. And it's all because of that.
It's a Bethesda thing.
Yeah,
that Unreal Engine is so cool, though.
The new one?
What people have been making with Unreal Engine. Have you seen the one somebody actually used Unreal Engine to make the opening of Link to the Past? And it's like, it's actually laid out, even with that 3D, you can tell it's laid out, but it's like he comes out of the house, and he's got to go around it to get to the castle in the background, the storm is raging. I'm like, if they made this into a whole game, they'd make $1 billion. People would flock to that. A Zelda game in the Unreal Engine that's a remake of a classic favorite.
Unfortunately, there's no Nintendo console ever that could run.
No.
I mean, I feel like they could pull it off on the Switch.
Do you think Nintendo will ever benefit from partnering with Steam and releasing stuff for the PC?
Yes. Yes.
It took them until 3 years ago to start doing phone stuff.
Yeah. That is true.
I just feel like in my experience, and as far as being a gamer, it's always been this way, where I've gotten a Nintendo console plus another console, right? Whether it's, so it's like, I think for the time it was GameCube. I got a GameCube and an Xbox. I think they were around the same time.
It's the same generation.
Yeah,
same generation.
2001.
And then eventually I got a PS2. But I always had a Nintendo console. Then it was the Wii. And then I chose the PS3, which I should have chose the 360, but whatever. Eventually I got a 360, but it was further down the line. So for me, on new generation, I always pick a Nintendo console, which is right now currently the Switch, and I would have gotten a PS5, but you know, they don't exist. So fucking stop.
I've had one for 7 months.
I'll get one eventually. I'm waiting until I need it, right? When the game comes out that I need to get with it, like Grand Theft Auto 6, right?
Well, unfortunately, Grand Theft Auto 6 is probably going to be on PlayStation 6.
Yeah, at this point. So, but I also should...
long enough, they'll give you a PS5 version of Grand Theft Auto 5.
There is going to be one, so of course.
I know.
I was actually thinking about getting GTA 5 again on PC, just to be able to play it right here.
I got it. It was free a couple years ago in an Epic store.
Oh, nice.
It was like the free game 1 week.
There you go. Yeah, I mean that would just be pretty cool too. My only thing is, whenever I get a game on PC, it has to be controller compatible, because I'm not a good keyboard and mouse guy. For something like Among Us where the controls are simple, that's one thing. And like obviously, if I was gonna play something like World of Warcraft, where you don't really have a choice, I'd suck it up and get used to it. But I'm just not a fan of keyboard and mousing full on games like that. I just feel like I have better control with the controller. So
I agree to a degree. If it's a first person shoot, and this is really weird, and I don't know why, but if it's a first person shooter, mouse keyboard. But if it's a third person game, controller.
see, I can't do Portal with my keyboard and mouse. I need my controller to play Portal on the PC because I've got the Portal games on Steam. And when I've tried testing them, I need to actually use the Steam controller to play Portal.
Oh, the Steam controller is a different story. The Steam controller is fucking awesome because it's actually like its sensitivity. It adjusts to the speed of how your like thumb goes across that pad.
Plus, it's just a cool design.
Yeah.
It's not plugged in right now, or I'd play with the little lights on it, but because I don't need it plugged in at the moment. But yeah, I do like the Steam controller. The only bad thing about it is you can't play it with other like emulators and stuff like that. It's not compatible with those. So like you can't just use it as an end-all be-all controller. So I still have to have like a Logitech gamepad to play other stuff. Whenever I import my Super Nintendo library to my computer, and I have,
Okay.
and I do. Because
What
it's just so much
is
easier.
your favorite controller so far
For a game console?
for anything? Like if you
Okay.
were going to use a controller, what's your go-to controller?
Probably the modern PlayStation controller, I think, is a really easy design. It's got the two joysticks right next to each other, the D-pad, the 4 buttons, the 2 triggers on top, and a lot of controllers sort of do that design in different patterns, but I've always just felt like that's a comfortable controller.
So you're a fan of the 2 joysticks being on the bottom and then the D-pad being up above?
Yeah, because like I said, PlayStation, outside of Nintendo consoles, which change their controllers every generation, and you got to get used to something new, played most games on PlayStation because I had a PS2 and a PS4. I do have a 360, and I do kind of like what the 360 does, but it's a different thing entirely when you're playing a game. And just to give you an example, using GTA 5, because I had it on 360, and then I got it again for PS4 for the next gen, I ended up liking it better on the PlayStation because of that controller setup versus the 360. Not that I dislike the 360 controller. I like the PlayStation controller better. So if that would be my go-to answer. I can also backwards answer that and tell you what the worst controller of all time is.
I have visual aids.
Is it
360
Nintendo
controller?
64?
Yes.
There's the offset left sticks up here. I actually really enjoyed this at the time.
Yeah, no, I thought it was a good design
like
and
it,
everything.
Because it does kind of feel right. It still kind of feels right, even though it's different. This thing is fucking awful because it's one button.
Yes.
Yeah.
Their D-pad sucks.
It is not 4 buttons. PlayStation
Yes.
4, this is 4 separate buttons. That's how you work it, brother.
You know what's sad though? The best D-pad is actually on the like original Nintendo.
Yeah.
In my opinion, the original D-pad, that shit is the best. It's the best.
Since neither of you have one. PlayStation 5.
What is that? That hasn't come out yet. Stop showing me that.
That doesn't exist. That's a prototype.
Okay.
Dan picked that up from like Area 51 or some shit.
Yeah, I did the raid. I
Yeah,
did the raid to get
that's how he got his
review.
PS5. He did the Area 51 raid.
No, so the PS4 controller, these are actually further apart than on PS3 or PS2.
Yeah,
I know the difference because I got a PS3 for free from a friend a few years ago, and that controller hurt my hands. I couldn't play a PS3 game with a PS3 controller.
That one had to be separated more because of the touchpad up
There's
top,
a touchpad up here.
Yeah.
which was gimmicky to begin with, but yeah.
Oh, what drives me nuts is games where you go to the map and you can scroll the map, and I would just be doing other stuff, and then like my thumb would barely touch it.
Accidentally.
And I'd be like, "Where's the map moving? Why is the map moving?"
Yeah, sensitivity issues would always be the worst. The worst controller is the N64.
Yeah.
Yeah, what am I supposed to do? Use my dick?
And it sucks so much because I friggin' love the N64 games so much, but I just hated that controller.
Actual triggers though,
like this, because this is how you held it.
That's how you were supposed to hold it, but I was the idiot who still held it from the side and stretched my thumb out.
Try to hit the stick.
Yeah,
it's still better than the people who held it like this. I know.
Oh, those claw people. Oh, the claw.
The little. Yeah, the inbred.
They just hold the stick like this, and then they do everything else.
Well, I mean, okay, if you're an inbred kid in the Midwest and you have claws for fingers, then yeah, that might be the only way you can play video games.
There's like some like speedrunners and professional champion level people that use the claw.
The claw. All right. Anybody have any other questions for us as we get towards the end of the program here? Drop them in the comments. We can have a little bit of fun discussing that. But while we were doing that, Dan, how's Dragon Ball going?
I didn't do a full season, but I did all of the Baba stuff.
Okay.
Which was like 5, 6, 7 episodes or something like that.
But that's fun though, right? Because you get it's like the movie monster parodies and everything.
Yeah, and then like all of a sudden there's like Spike, the Duke Blue Devil.
Yes. the Duke Blue Devil.
In Dark Souls speed runs with no arms. And
yeah, is there a guy that beat Dark Souls with a guitar?
And I can't beat fucking Dark Souls.
I haven't gotten through the tutorial in any of those games. Dark Souls, Demon Souls, the other one.
Yeah, no, that ain't happening.
Yeah. The first time I played a Dark Souls game was I started with Dark Souls 3. I made it to the very first boss, and I didn't understand the game at first. I knew that it was supposed to be a hard game, and I knew that I was doing the tutorial. But, like, I didn't understand the timing of it. And dude, I bought the game, and I literally sat there, and I understood the frustration, and I almost wanted to break my controller. I just went, I'm going to bed. And I turned off the fucking console and just went to bed. I was like, that's it. I'm done. And I haven't played it since. Well, I did get past them eventually, but, like, God.
Okay. Here's a good question from Jeff. What do we hope to accomplish in the next 50 shows of Nerd Table? So the next milestone we're going to hit will be episode 100. So the
next milestone we hit is 1 year anniversary, which is going to be soon.
Yeah, because we started this. It's got to be this month, right? Because we were already doing the show.
Well,
it was just the
2 weeks in a year, right? So
yeah.
I mean, we might have
and we also missed a week, so it's got to be like next week,
sometime in August,
practically.
Yeah.
So yeah, the timing works out. Well, if you guys like this format, maybe we can do this again next Friday night. And now actually I'll make sure that it actually goes to Facebook this time, because it didn't this time. We can try that out as like a 1 year anniversary special too. Okay, so by episode 100, I think goal number 1, I want to double our listenership. And this might be a good way to do that, is to do this type of format. Maybe not every week per se, but maybe this could become a regular thing that we do. And maybe we could conclude the audio version of the show and relaunch this as a web show like we're doing right now. Eventually get better at editing. We can do the screen share so we can place clips from things and everything and react to them. You know what I mean? So that's all going to depend on feedback we get from this episode. But that's a good way to double our listenership because Star Talk, the Neil deGrasse Tyson podcast that I listen to, he puts out the audio, right? But then you can also just watch him on YouTube. And him and his co-host Chuck Nice and whoever the guests that they have on, you watch them interact with each other on camera, but then I can just listen to the audio too. So if I don't have like the YouTube Premium, even though they have been trying for several years now to get me to sign up for it unsuccessfully, keep trying YouTube. You're doing great there.
I signed up for it. Do you want to know why though?
They got
And it
Eric?
wasn't even
They
because
got Eric!
It wasn't even because of the YouTube thing. It wasn't even the YouTube thing. They have the music.
That's
The
what you
Monroe
wanted
one.
it for, because you want to play your
I
music.
wanted it for that, and at first I was gonna do the Google, or not the Google one. What the fuck's the other one? Not
Amazon
Spotify.
Music?
There's another one. Yeah. Well, no. I have
You need
Amazon
Tidal
Music
by
on my phone.
Jay-Z?
There was another fucking music thing. I think it was Amazon Music actually, because they have like one that you get with Prime, and then another paid service one. And I was looking into that, and then I was watching a fucking video of it on YouTube, and it goes sign up for YouTube Premium, and then it says includes YouTube Music, and I was like, what the fuck is YouTube Music? And then it sold me on it because I was looking for music to begin with, and now I don't have to listen to this fucking commercial. So done.
Sometimes I almost wonder if it would be worth it to just do YouTube Music, get the YouTube Premium service, and then just drop Spotify altogether.
I like it. And the only other thing, like, do you have an iPhone or do you have an?
I have an iPhone.
You have an iPhone? You can listen to your YouTube shows with the phone off, or like.
I know that. Yeah. So like, and that's a cool service too, because like again, yeah, like some podcasts upload their audio to YouTube, and it's just 2 hours of audio with a static image up there. But I listen to a lot of old podcasts through YouTube because it's faster to find it that way than trying to dig through the apps on Apple or Spotify, even like to try to search for what I'm looking for. So sometimes it's easier that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, the first goal is going to be to figure out the best way to do this show to increase, really double our numbers here. That's goal number one. Goal number two would be to start doing more interactive type stuff like this, like we have been doing. But it would be fun to do something like this on the air, like the entertainment challenge, right? Instead of doing it in the Facebook group, we start the show, 10 minutes into the show, I drop the challenge, and now you have an hour to come up with your answer. And then at the top of the hour, or whenever an hour's passed, we then read your answers. Like, we can do something like that. You've got an hour to think of something to make us laugh. Go. So there's goal number two. Goal number three would be actual interviews. Have actual guests on to come on and join us. Get popular enough to the point where we could even have a weekly fourth window on here. Have a rotating fourth that comes on, and we get to talk to them about stuff. And then, because what's cool about that is, even if it's just one of our friends or whatever, right? We can talk about all kinds of different nerd stuff and get different perspectives. Okay, yeah, we can obviously talk about movies between the three of us, but then somebody else comes in, and they bring in a whole bunch of movies that we haven't talked about. So that would probably be goal number three. And then goal number four would be to actually get full-time revenue coming in, even if it is only enough to keep us running and keep us free. Like, yes, the patron is great, the sponsorship deal is great, but we can still do better with that. And I don't want to bog everything down with ads. Maybe an ad at the beginning and one at the end, right? Like, I don't want like a show interrupting middle ad, even though, well, that's where the high tier ads go. Okay, yeah, but I don't want to interrupt my show. So that would probably be the fourth goal, because then that can help start funding things and everything like that. So yeah, I think that's...
I think I would like to bring in like a finance segment or whatever. Talk about stocks and whatnot.
Stonks.
Get some GameStop and some AMC up in here. Yeah,
well, there's also all kinds of possibilities we can do if we do another video show like this. I can open up the fourth window, right? And we can screen share a game. And we can actively play the game while we're doing the podcast, which is something I kind of wanted to do on my Video Melee Gaming Emporium channel, is to actually have like chats going on while I'm playing the game. We can.
We should do that with Earthbound.
Oh my god! You just want me to play Earthbound, so I can get
I do
frustrated.
want to play Earthbound.
Okay.
We would never fucking beat it.
No, you want me to play Earthbound. You want me to play Chrono Trigger. And then there was something else you told me to play on the Super Nintendo that I can't remember the name of now. Something involving time traveling.
Chrono Trigger, really?
No, it wasn't that. It was a game I'd never heard of before, but it sounded interesting.
Soul Blazer?
Yes, that's it. Soul Blazer.
Soul
Yeah.
Blazers.
You were trying to sell me on that one too, and I will 100% consider that. And then the other cool thing we can do is like, remember how I said I wanted to do like a Chris Ranks the Universe where I reveal my top 20 all-time favorite video games? And I wanted to do the Chris Ranks the Universe where I rank the original 150 Pokemon. I would want to do it on a show like this and open up that fourth window and then put the clips in there so you guys can react to the stuff as it's happening. You know, okay, here's my least favorite Pokemon, and then hit the button and they pop up on the screen, and then you guys start giggling when you see what it is. Which one did I believe is the worst? And you're like, yeah, fuck Caterpie, which is actually not the answer, believe it or not, but Caterpie's not very high on the list, we'll put it that way. So, I think basically I just want to get some good feedback from this type of an episode. Put the video up in the Facebook group since we didn't actually stream it live, so people can see it and everything. And then just generally get feedback like that. And I mean, there's all kinds of fun stuff we could do with a video style format like this. I could buy a snack, right? Something I've never tried before, eat it live, and you guys can actually see my face contort if it's disgusting. Like those specialty candy bars and crap like that. And be like, look, this sounds interesting. You just
live
you do
unboxing.
I could do
Live
that with
unboxings.
Weedstone here in Michigan.
Yes, do it. Like there's a lot of fun possibilities here. One thing I would love to do at some point, which obviously ain't happening anytime soon, is record an episode with the three of us, but we're actually in the same room. Fortunately, that's going to be a little more challenging. Not just because we live in 3 separate states, but because of restrictions and other crap. I mean, this is how podcasts where they would normally record in the same room are doing their shows now.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Oh, one more thing I definitely would want to do by episode 100. I want a theme song. I want the show to have a theme song. Especially if we are going to start moving to a format like this. A theme song with a graphic and everything to play at the beginning that I can sort of just edit in when all is said and done. Because I think eventually what I would do...
Andy.
Yeah, Andy.
What you doing, Andy?
Adrian Cotton. I think we've had this conversation before, actually. Yeah, all you musically inclined folk. Start paying attention. And it doesn't have to be... Like, I just want an instrumental thing, right? Like a 15-second instrumental thing to play over the graphic to introduce us to the show. That's it. That's, nothing so far out there, but I don't want to use any generic stock music. I want it to be something original for us. And can we all agree it's going to be something rock and roll sounding? Because we all like that music.
Yeah, like Avenged Sevenfold-ish.
All right, Eric. Okay, here you go. The opening guitar riff to Hail to the King. Recreate something like that and make that our intro. That's one of my favorite guitar riffs of all time.
Anything that they do, it always just sounds like it belongs in Castlevania.
There you go. Well, you can use Symphony of the Night as an inspiration. The ultimate thing would be if we could get some kind of symphonic metal sounding song for the nerd table.
That's the symphonic metal sounding, and the only thing that came to me was just like, I don't know why, but like what's it called? The organs and stuff like that, mixed with rock.
Well, yes, that would be part of it.
I mean, yeah.
I'm thinking more like Nightwish Within Temptation type stuff.
I just got introduced to Nightwish.
The hell is Dan listening to? He's playing music right now in his head.
It's fucking Coheed and Cambria, Welcome Home is what we're gonna have.
Oh, there you go. You know, that's a good one too. But we could do stuff like that. We could do a countdown. We can, like, the next time we do one of those challenges, we can have it on the screen and actively do it. In that case, we'd have to share our screens and do our countdowns individually. But it's a possibility. So really, what we just need is feedback. We need feedback as to what we can do, and we also need you guys, our wonderful listeners, talking to you, to get the word out about this show. All of your friends who are into nerd stuff and might actually enjoy something like this, let them know that we're out there. And yeah, we could put this up on YouTube on a playlist, and that's why I've got the website where you can just go to ckccradio.com, go to the nerd table, and then there's all the episodes. You just click to go to the individual links. But, maybe this might be the better way to do it. So maybe we'll do this again next week for what will ultimately be an anniversary show for episode 51. And try doing it on Facebook too and just see how it goes. I don't know. All depends on you guys' schedules. I'm pretty sure I'm free again Friday at 7. I don't work on Fridays right now, so.
Dan looks like a hacker right now.
Yeah, he does. I'm trying to look into Dan's glasses to see what he's hacking into right now. If he's got the right reflection.
CKCC radio logo.
Okay. I can't even wear my blue tint glasses for a show like this because.
So the first episode was August 16th.
Oh yeah, so we're coming up on it. Because if I try to put these on, they're way too reflective. Whoa. So, like, yeah, it helps filter it out of my eyes, but then the whole time I have to kind of look down. So I'll just suffer and let the light make me blind. All right, yeah, so we're coming up on it.
We'll get that, like, light stuff going on.
Yeah. Well, all right, so here's what we'll do. We'll take the weekend to think about it and get some feedback, and then on Monday we'll announce if we're going to just do a regular audio version next week or if we're going to try to schedule another one of these. And we'll let the listeners make that decision for us. But I think we've reached the end of our program, gentlemen. And it has been... this was actually a lot of fun. I really liked this format a lot.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun.
This was pretty cool, and I think...
I'm tired now, though.
Yeah, well, I think visual stuff helps in the long run, too, because if you do something visual like this, now anybody who didn't know who we were or what we looked like or anything can just go to YouTube, put a face to the voice, and now might be more inclined to see other stuff that we're doing, which is why I've started putting the webcam up when I actually do my streams. Because that's always the people who get the most views. Even if all you're doing is just staring in one direction, they see your face react to stuff too. Where you're like, yeah, I died.
Right.
Son of a... And
I just don't want this to hurt the actual podcast portion of it. That's why I was trying to read all the questions as they were coming in.
Yeah.
The ones that we're getting ready to answer.
Well, I don't think that it will. That's the thing, right?
No.
It's we're the CKCC radio channel encompasses video stuff too. And if the Nerd Table became a video show, then it would just be part of the programming, would just be links to YouTube clips instead of links to Spotify. That's really the only difference.
True.
And we can always do it like Star Talk and release both. Do the audio version. And you just have to remember if you're doing something visual that you speak out what you're doing. Like when I'm just like, oh, check it out. Look who's on my shirt. It's WWE women's wrestler Sasha Banks. Instead of just being like, look who's on my shirt.
I mean, earlier when I was like, this is a 360 controller.
Yeah, exactly. All right, you were actually showing what the controller was. So, yeah, I think that's how it's going to be. And
this is a Wiimote with
God.
a Wii Motion Plus attached to it.
Oh, that's awesome. Mine is in a storage bin downstairs. Yeah, so you guys are going to have to tell us. But if you like this, great. And we can try to set a time every week that works for the most people. Friday nights just happen to work for the three of us right now. but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a permanent thing. So, all right. Who's hungry?
Okay.
I'm sleeping.
I want to do one last plug before we're done.
Oh, here we go.
Because this weekend we are recording a special patron episode for our patrons at patreon.com/Club Kayfabe. We are covering the extended version of the Lord of the Rings films.
Yes.
And we are going to continue at the end of the month doing some more movies. We're 2 or 3 movies, a trilogy or a duo, or 2 movies that are somewhat aligned. I have an idea for December. We do 2 or 3 Christmas movies that quote unquote aren't Christmas movies. I'm talking Die Hard and Batman Returns in particular.
We're going to start doing bonus patron exclusive nerd tables. And Dan chose the trilogy we're doing this month, which was Lord of the Rings Extended. And I reached out to Eric and said, well, Dan picked this month. Eric, what do you want to do in August? And Eric immediately came back with Back to the Future. And that's when I was like, you son of a bitch. I'm in.
So that's what we're doing in August.
Yes. And then September, we'll do something else. I've got a couple of ideas, things we can review, so.
Oh, yeah.
So it doesn't have to be like a film trilogy or something, but we're gonna start doing some bonus nerd tables for you guys too. And
So we're doing it once a month, so we want it to be more than just one movie.
yes, and that's the other thing too is, I want to start. I guarantee weekly content on our Patreon page, and it's only $5 a month to sign up. Right now, we've been doing the VIP Wrestle Talk, and we've been doing that for a while. But we want to start kind of breaking that up, and Wrestle Talk might actually become a once a month thing as well. We're going to try to do like a different style content thing each and every week, so there's always different content coming out. And Nerd Table movie reviews just seem like a natural way to do that. So, yeah. Good plug. Good plug. All right, well, if you guys have nothing else, other than be excellent to one another.
Be excellent to one another.
Of course. Then I'm going to go ahead and sign us out here. This has been the live edition of the Nerd Table, episode number 50. Thank you guys for making this possible, and we'll see you next time.